Good morning, everyone. This is a special morning for our school. First thing though, I want to thank our parents for being here. You are an important part of our community any day, especially today. There are some few seats. This school has grown to a point where seating is at a premium. But if you would like, we would love you to come down and sit anywhere you can find a seat. Not the best vantage point where you are, but it is, you're certainly welcome to sit in either place. This is the second most important day of our school year. The most important day is when we say goodbye to our 8th graders at graduation. That day is coming far too quickly. But it is not here yet, and one of the essential steps that we need to go to our graduation day is to go through this process. This process is our capstone process. We've invited students in the 7th, 6th, and 5th grades to be here, so you can see and learn from our 8th graders just what the process is that we call capstone. It starts in the 7th grade. It involves a lot of work on parents, a tremendous amount of outreach into the community, but it is the final, ultimate step for service education, service learning at this school. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were even here when you were kindergarten students and you were chasing leaves around out in the field under the guise of raking them. That was the start of a process that ends today. So we've been at this a long time. This 8th grade has been particularly meritorious, and I need to say that you've done a great job. But now is the day where you have to stand on your own in front of the school community and tell us what you did and how you did it and what you learned from it. We have had students do this for 17 years, well, not quite 17 years, we didn't start with an 8th grade. We've had students do this for years and years. We haven't had any fatalities in the process. So calm down, easy for me to say. And remember, when you get up here, we're all friends here. This is all part of who we are. And being respectful of who we are is what makes this school just glow. When people come to the school, they notate almost unfailingly what a great group of students we have. The state said that, the nationally award. Everyone talks about what a great group of students. I wish those people were here today. They would have an even higher opinion. I want to thank Mrs. Zolnowski and Mr. Perna for they did the big view of this and organized all of the capstone big picture. But today I want to in particular thank Mrs. Arnott, Mr. Lewis, and Mrs. Schaefer. Your advising groups are here today, and I am expecting a particularly distinguished morning. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to introduce Mrs. Arnott. I'm going to wish you all good luck, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Good morning and welcome to everybody. I'm very proud to present my advisees today. They have worked tirelessly for the last year, planning and implementing their capstone project. They have raised awareness in and out of the school and raised a lot of money for organizations that are near and dear to their hearts. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the first presenter this morning, which is Julia Meredith.
Hello, parents, students, teachers, and friends of the BFCCPS community. My name is Julia Meredith. When I was asked to choose a capstone project, 100 topics came to mind. I had trouble narrowing it down to just one. I wanted a project that would not only be a service to the community, but also for a cause that was close to my heart. After much thinking, I finally decided to devote my efforts to Children's Hospital. When I was a baby, I suffered from kidney infections. In amazing care of me. Looking back, I realized just how lucky I am to be healthy. I was there for a minuscule problem compared to children who hadn't been home in months and were losing their hair in wheelchairs and equipped to oxygen tanks. Capstone was the perfect opportunity for me to make a difference in these children's lives. My focus was not on raising money for cancer research, but for buying toys, board games, and crafts for the children to play with. They've been so strong and brave throughout their treatments, I wanted to reward them with a new toy. During the capstone process, one patient in particular came to mind, named Madeline Savoy. When Maddie was just 8 years old, she was diagnosed with bone cancer. I remember her as being the sweetest, funniest, most optimistic girl, and her smile could light up a room. When Maddie passed away in 2008, it was a tragedy for everyone. She was an inspiration to so many people, and I felt the best way I could honor her was to help patients like her. My project went into full swing last fall when I held booths at 2 local harvest festivals. In late September at the Stony Brook Fair, I sold baked goods like cookies and pumpkin bread. In October, I held a pumpkin decorating booth at the Franklin Harvest Festival. I bought 99 pumpkins from Jane and Paul's farm, and the kids had so much fun decorating them. Both events turned out to be incredibly successful. In total, I raised $650, which was amazing considering my original goal was only $100. During the capstone process, I encountered a few obstacles, but I was able to overcome them in the end. At the start of the capstone process, I had huge plans, including car washes and more. But thanks to my mom and my advisor, Mrs. Honor, I was able to take a step back and get a better perspective on the goal of my project. The second obstacle I encountered was a financial obstacle. Before capstone, I was completely unaware of how expensive everything was. All the materials for my project cost a significant amount of money, but thanks to careful management of my money and generous donations, I was able to afford everything. Now that my capstone project is complete, I can reflect on the positive results of my service. I was able to deliver a check for $650 to the Children's Hospital Boston and a bag of toys generously donated by Mrs. Reynolds. I'm happy. It's amazing knowing that I was able to bring smiles to dozens of children's faces and reach out to hundreds of people who attended the festival and tell them about Children's Hospital and how they can help. Throughout the capstone project, I have become a more mature, responsible person. I showed temperance and patience when dealing with the adults who helped me with my project, and fortitude when speaking to adults about my project. At first, I was nervous, but I was able to overcome my fear. There are many people who contributed to my project who I'd like to recognize. I'd first like to thank my mom for driving me everywhere, giving me money for materials, helping me bake pastries, and supporting me throughout the entire process. Thank you, Mrs. Honor, for helping me every step of the way. You've been there since step 1, and I've been so grateful. And Ms. Kristen Savoy, Maddie's mom, for giving me fundraising ideas and always coming to support me. And I'd also like to thank Jane and Paul's Farm for their kind discount on the pumpkins, and Ms. Angeline Grant for generously donating the pumpkin decorating booth. And lastly, I'd like to thank all my friends who came to support me. Without any of these people, my project wouldn't have been nearly successful, and I wouldn't have been able to help so many children. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Madeline Olson.
Hello, and good morning, BFCCPS. My name is Madeline Olson, and for my capstone project, I focused on Alzheimer's disease. The main reason I focused on Alzheimer's disease is because my grandfather, Papa, was diagnosed with this disease about 5 years ago, and I wanted to do something to help. Alzheimer's disease is a form of dementia that causes memory loss, strange behavior, and trouble processing thoughts. It affects not only the people suffering with the disease, but often the families also. Every year, the Alzheimer's Association sponsors a memory walk to raise money for its organization. Last year, it took place on September 28, 2011, and thousands of people participated. I had such a positive experience that I decided to organize my own smaller memory walk that would involve my community. This is, however, not my only first choice. I faced a number of obstacles during my capstone process. At the beginning of my capstone process, I was going to make friendship bracelets during the summer and sell them when I returned to school in September. But I never made enough to sell. It also took too long to make each bracelet. Another obstacle I encountered was when I tried to contact the Franklin and Jamaica Plain Senior Center to see if I could provide memory baskets for their seniors. But whenever I emailed or called them, they would never reply. That was frustrating, so I decided with the help of my mom to focus on my own memory walk. There were many positive parts in my capstone project. The first one was when I finally decided to do the memory walk. Many people donated items and participated in my walk. Another positive result of my project was that the town of Franklin let me use the Franklin Common on the day that I planned my event, October 23rd, 2011. The third positive result was that many people came to support me, including my wonderful advisor, Miss Honor, my best friends from school, including Samantha, McKenzie, Victoria, my close friends from my old school in Medway and their families, my mom's family, my school community, and many more. Lastly, I received stickers, bracelets, banners, and balloons from the Alzheimer's Association, purple-colored donuts from Dunkin' Donuts, and cider from Fairmont Food Farm. Part of my project was to educate my community. I did this by selling flags that represented people who were suffering from Alzheimer's or families that have lost a loved one from this disease. These flags were placed around the common so that when people walked around, they would be proud that they were supporting a good cause. Some virtues I portrayed during this project were justice and fortitude. The meaning of justice is respect, kindness, and fairness. I showed justice because during the walk, I had to be respectful of people who were there to use the common. I also had to show respect by not trashing the common and leaving it the way it was when I got there. I also showed fortitude. Fortitude means that you have courage and determination. I showed fortitude by sticking through my capstone even after all the obstacles. Some people think that capstone is all about community service or raising an awareness, but it's also a great opportunity to learn something you didn't know before. During my capstone, I learned that Alzheimer's disease is the 6th main leading cause of death, and every 69 seconds someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I also learned that Alzheimer's isn't just about memory loss. It's about behavioral issues along with difficulty processing thoughts, speech, and reading. I also learned that my family is not alone with this disease. There are many other people who are suffering from Alzheimer's disease or families dealing with loved ones who have it or someone who has passed away from it. During the September walk that the Alzheimer's Association sponsored, I overheard a young girl ask her mom, "Mommy, will I have Alzheimer's when I'm older?" Her mom replied, "Probably not, because scientists will hopefully find a cure. Until then, my goal is to do something for my grandfather because I love him." This is why I chose Alzheimer's disease for my capstone project. There are many people who helped me during my capstone process that I would like to thank. First, I would like to thank my mom for helping me through the whole process even when I was stuck and frustrated. My family for helping me set up for the memory walk. Miss Honor for helping me through my capstone successfully and coming to my walk. Miss Whipple from Alzheimer's Association for donating the bracelets, banners, balloons, and flyers. Denise from Dunkin' Donuts in Franklin for donating the purple frosted donuts. Fairmont Food Farm for donating apple cider. Also, I would like to thank the town of Franklin for allowing me to use the Franklin Common. Lastly, I would like to thank my papa for staying strong every day and loving me in a special way. I love you, Papa.
Our next presenter is Cameron.
Hello, BFCCPS community. My name is Kierum, and for my capstone project, I focused on raising money for and promoting the Buddy Bowl. Buddy Bowl is a charity flag football tournament that donates all money raised to various charities, which focus on injured veterans and first responders. I chose to work with Buddy Bowl because I had participated in past events and it combined my interest in football with a fun way to help. I promoted the event from the beginning of school in September 2011 by putting up flyers in and outside of school, making a pink sheet notice, making an announcement at lunch, and even appearing on Fox 25 News to talk about my event. While making the announcement at lunch, Mr. Mark Alongo, the founder and president of Buddy Bowl, brought in a service dog to show everyone how some of the money is used, like training service dogs. Midway through my project, word of the injury suffered by Sergeant Joe Deloria, a Bellingham native, reached me. I asked Mr. Marcolongo if we could donate some of the money towards Deloria's injury. Mr. Marcolongo not only agreed, but we also played in honor of Sergeant Deloria. I encountered few roadblocks and obstacles. I encountered a shortage of ideas to raise money for Buddy Bowl. However, thanks to a brilliant idea of running a concession stand during the Saturday games of Millis's flag football season, I was able to raise a significant amount of money. In the concession stand, I had a hard time staying motivated and focused because I had to get up at 7 a.m. to be ready to get to the field in time. Another obstacle was overcoming the fear of being on the television and talking for 2 minutes. However, my father and mother convinced me to go, and it turned out to be an awesome experience. A third obstacle was coordinating an interview with the Medway Millis newspaper. After about 2 weeks, my mom finally intervened, and I was able to get the interview, and an article about the Buddy Bowl was put in the newspaper. Buddy Bowl took place on November 18, 2011. Though quite cold, it was a lot of fun. Signs and posters were hung up in school and all through the local areas. The response was great. There were exactly 30 teams that signed up and played on game day, which was triple my original goal of 10 teams. There were some participants from BFCCPS that played on a team together. Money raised came from a few different places. The most profitable was the concession stand. We also raffled off Rob Gronkowski and Matt Light autographed footballs, which were so generously donated by the Patriots organization and Matt Light himself. Through the playing fees, the football raffle, and my efforts through the concession stand, we were able to raise over $8,000 from the Millis Buddy Bowl. During the Buddy Bowl, I learned the values of initiative, perseverance, and courage. During this project, I had to take initiative to talk to the editor of the Millis Medway newspaper, requesting an article to be written about the Buddy Bowl. I learned that perseverance is important because there were many times that I felt overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. Through those difficult times, I persevered and eventually found the silver lining in every one of those situations. Going on Fox 25 News was frightening, but I was courageous and knew that I was speaking about an organization that I believed in. The most important lesson I learned from my capstone project was that all hard work comes with a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling I hope to have many times in my lifetime. In a year's time, I have learned of many life's lessons. At the beginning of this process, the capstone process seemed like an enormous mountain. I was on the bottom looking up, and it seemed so daunting, but it turned into a great adventure with a lot of new experiences under my belt. Having completed my capstone project, I now enjoy the way I take on new projects. Capstone shall forever remind me of what hard work can create. I'd like to thank a few people who helped me with my capstone project. First, I would like to thank my parents for all the help and support they gave me throughout my capstone project. Second, Mr. Marcolongo for letting me organize a Millis Buddy Bowl, for supporting me on Fox 25 News, and bringing in a service dog for all my fellow students to see. I would also like to thank everyone who came to the event, the Patriots organization and Mrs. Assad for generously donating the Rob Gronkowski autographed football, Mr. Showalker and Matt Light for donating the Matt Light autographed football, and my advisor, Mrs. Honor, who helped me with any problem or question that I came forward with. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Samantha Duncan.
Good morning, BFCCPS. My name is Samantha Duncan, and for my capstone project, I help bring a smile to children's faces. When I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, or IBD, which stands for inflammatory bowel disease. I spent lots of time in and out of Children's Hospital Boston. and getting procedures, they had something called treatment rooms. In these rooms, they had small things to cheer you up. These items ranged from stuffed animals to costume jewelry to even things like geodes. When you're sick, little pick-me-ups like that mean a lot, especially when you're a little kid. When it was time to think of capstone ideas, I knew this was my chance to give back. I finally conjured up my project after a lot of thinking and planning. I realized I wanted to donate Build-A-Bears to children receiving treatments at Children's Hospital Boston. After getting my plan approved, I needed to get my plan into action. I called the Build-A-Bear Workshop store, and I was transferred to corporate. There I dealt with a woman named Lauren Hoffman. After explaining my project and a lot of emails back and forth, we agreed that it would work for both of us if she sent me 5 fully dressed animals, like bears, cats, and dogs. My mom and I posted pictures of 2 of the animals on her Facebook account for all our friends and family. The tickets were sold at $1 a piece, or $5 for 6 tickets. After the private raffle ended, we counted up the money and found out we raised $500. Then, to make things official and so there was no favoritism, we went down to the Bellingham police station and had Sergeant Lemon pull the 2 winners. The 2 winners both opted out and chose not to take their bears, but to instead donate them to the hospital as well. Then we sold the raffle tickets at school. At the end of the song week, I made $400 more, for a total of $900. Then I took all the money I had raised to Build-A-Bear Workshop along with 3 of my friends. It just so happened that that weekend when we went to Build-A-Bear, they were having a buy one get one half off sale. I also had a tax-exempt certificate from the school. After about 4 hours of stuffing, we made about 58 bears, and with the 2 donated ones, altogether, we had 60 bears to donate. Also, all of the bears either had scrubs or a plush medical kit. Then I went to Children's Hospital Boston and I donated them all. Although I did not get up on stage in an assembly and talk, I did educate my community in other ways. The first way I educated my community was through Facebook. I wrote a blurb which my mom posted on her Facebook. This post helped more than double the donations I would have raised at school alone. Then I put something about my project in the pink sheet. 1 week in October, I put a full page about my project and illness in the pink sheet. I also used that same blurb for flyers, which I handed out and hung up around the school. The other way I spread awareness was when people came up to me or donated, they would ask what ulcerative colitis or what IBD was, and I would explain to them. The major positive result of my project was that I got to give back to kids who suffer from IBD like me, as well as other severe injuries or illness. I brought a smile to the faces of 60 children who were stuck in the hospital for Halloween. While working on my capstone project, I encountered many obstacles. One of them was poor communication. I would write an email to Lauren and not hear back for days, weeks, and sometimes even months. I persevered and I kept writing, and I would keep calling until I heard back. Another obstacle was the 60 bears and how were they going to fit in my mom's minivan. Eventually we came up with a plan to put all the bears in unused trash bags and fold the boxes. This way the hospital could put them in the boxes when they donated them. While working on my capstone project, I learned responsibility, organization, and perseverance. I learned responsibility, writing a lot of emails, making a lot of phone calls, and following up as soon as possible. I learned organization by keeping all the emails I received, and I had to make sure all the tickets were safe. I learned perseverance when on the first day of my sales, I didn't sell any tickets. The next day, I joined people by displaying the bears and talking about my project at all of the lunches. My project was very successful, and I am very proud of what I did, but I couldn't have done it without any help. I would like to thank Lauren, Samantha, Autumn, Stacy, Miss Honor, Tara, everyone who participated in my project, Randy, Sarah, Hannah, Dr. Busfaros, Mr. Perna, Sergeant Lemon, Nicole, and the Children's Hospital staff, as well as my parents. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Kayla and Manatee.
Hello, my name is Kayla and for my 2010 to 2011 Capstone project, I chose to raise awareness about manatees. My interest in manatees began because my mom has always had an interest in them, and after doing research, I found out that their population is at its lowest of about 2,500 today. At that moment, I knew for my capstone I wanted to help save these harmless animals. To first start educating others, I started with my school. I read a book about manatees to grades K through 2 and also distributed bookmarks. Educating only the younger grades did not seem to be enough for me, so I decided to also educate my community. I had a table at the school talent show and the school movie night. At these events, I handed out manatee bookmarks, fact sheets, and magnets. In total, from these two events, I raised somewhere around $30 to $40. Completing Capstone was not very easy. In fact, it was quite hard. During the capstone process, I encountered many obstacles, such as how I was going to raise awareness. I was originally going to sell and make bracelets, but I realized that the cost was too much and they took too long to make. After finding the bookmarks online with the help of my advisor, I decided to sell them. I cut and laminated each one with the help of some great friends. I wanted to donate more than just the $40 I had raised with the bookmarks. So one day while I was cleaning my room, I found a bag of unused Webkins. So I decided to have a raffle. The raffle was very successful and I raised almost $200. Overall, my capstone was very successful and I raised double the amount I had hoped for, which is over $200. I realized I was successful raising awareness about manatees because the kids on my bus were talking about manatees and one of them had gone to the store and bought a plush manatee. Also, at the school talent show, many people told me that they would go online and see what they could do to help at the SaveTheManatees.com. During my capstone process, I showed many virtues. I showed fortitude when I started the raffle and I did not realize what I was getting myself into. It was very hard to keep track of all the money and tickets coming in at the same time for 3 days. Thanks to the help of Victoria Emons, I was able to keep going and continue raising awareness about manatees. I would like to thank Evan Graham for helping me with the tickets and money in the kindergarten runs, along with Victoria Eamon for helping me with the raffle. I would also like to thank Miss Honor for helping me through the capstone process and helping me find the bookmarks. And lastly, I would like to thank my parents for helping me keep track of the money and all those who helped in the raffle. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Andrew Pritchett.
Hello, my fellow BFCCPS community. About a year ago, I was sitting down, like you, watching last year's 8th grade capstone presentations and wondering what I would do for my capstone project, what I would achieve, how I would complete it. I had many ideas about what I wanted to do, including raising money for programs that help the physically disabled and those with traumatic stress disorder. But I decided to focus on organ donation. I chose this because my family has been affected by it since my aunt needed a kidney transplant. Thankfully, my mom donated a kidney to my aunt, but I know that some aren't so lucky. After a lot of thought and research, I set my goal to raise $250 and bring awareness about organ donation to my community. I decided to run in the Falmouth Road Race to raise money for Donate Life America, a national organization that promotes organ donation, and to do something to share information about organ donation. Now that I had defined my goals, I began to implement my capstone project. Eventually, I got focused and got my topic approved, as well as the plan I made to accomplish it. Summertime was very busy with various sports activities and camps, so I began working on my capstone project in early August. Using my mom's email address book, I sent out an email to many family members and friends telling them about my capstone project and the race I was going to run, asking for donations. Fortunately, I received many donation pledges. During this time, I finally started training, and my lack of training was evident during the actual race, but I was still able to get a good time. Once I finished the race, I kicked my capstone into high gear. I handwrote many thank you notes for those who donated, and although that took me a month or so, in the end it was worth it. I raised $800 overall. This money could be used for a Donate Life America advertisement that could urge someone to donate an organ and save a life. Once I had finished gathering and donating the money to Donate Life America, I began to figure out how I would raise awareness about organ donation. After going through possible methods of raising awareness, such as an assembly, posters in the school, or flyers, I decided to create a flyer that would contain general information on organ donation. I soon made the decision to include information about not just organ donation, but also about blood and bone marrow donation, since they are important and greatly needed as well. First, I had to do more research about the different types of donation. Then I had to arrange all the information I gathered into an easy-to-read format. Next, I got approved by Mr. Perna and Mrs. Honor, my advisor. The flyer was finally ready to distribute to the community. Over the following weeks, I distributed the flyer to everyone in the school and then to my neighborhood and the two adjoining neighborhoods. In all, I distributed over 650 flyers. Once done with that, I had officially completed my capstone project. Looking back at it all, I wish I hadn't been so reluctant to work on many aspects of my project. It would have been nice to have had a presenter from Donate Life America come in and talk about what they do. On a positive note, I feel good about myself for accomplishing what I did, and I hope that everyone who was involved was positively affected. By spreading the word about organ, blood, and bone marrow donation, someone's life might be saved someday by a donor who read my flyer. I would like to thank my parents and all those who contributed money to my project, as well as my advisor, Mrs. Honor. One thing I learned was the importance of perseverance in completing an undertaking of this magnitude and life and journey. Thank you.
Okay, my last presenters today are Victoria Eamon and McKenzie Young.
Friends, parents, and teachers of BFCCPS. I am McKenzie Young.
And I'm Victoria Eamon. For our 8th grade capstone project, we decided to volunteer with the Franklin Senior Center. Over the past few months, we've been going there after school to play piano, sing, and play games with the seniors. We also hosted a school talent show to raise money for the Senior Center. In the beginning of my capstone experience, I was working alone. In the beginning, I had many ideas of what I wanted to do for my capstone project, and I had never even considered the Franklin Senior Center. After a lot of going to be putting a smile on someone's face. There were many possibilities, but I made my final decision to work with the Franklin Senior Center. There are many reasons why I chose the Franklin Senior Center as my project, but the main reason was that it was the perfect opportunity to put a smile on someone's face, which can sometimes feel even better than making a donation. Once when we were performing during lunch at the Senior Center, everyone in the room started clapping and singing along. McKenzie and I danced around the cafeteria, and eventually one lady started to get up and dance with us. Seeing a smile on her face felt wonderful, like we had made her day with just one small act of kindness. This is the main reason I chose this as my capstone project, to make people happy and brighten their day. As another important part of our capstone, we had to spread the word about our project. We did this in many ways. First of all, we talked about it during our school talent show. First, we went from classrooms 5th through 8th grade, talking about our project and how to participate. Then during the school talent show, we made a short speech about our project. The talent show later led to informing the Senior Center. We picked 4 acts from the show to come with us to the Senior Center, and then we held a short Christmas concert. That day, we presented the check and told them about our capstone project. We also informed the Franklin Senior Center the other times we went and performed. There are many positive outcomes from our capstone project. The best result from our project was that we were really able to help the Senior Center. We helped by being a source of entertainment, and we also volunteered with their Sunshine Club. We also raised a lot of money for the Senior Center. To do this, we held a school talent show, which was the second positive outcome of our project. Our talent show raised $684.22 for the Franklin Senior Center. Donating the money to the Senior Center was one of the best parts of our projects because they were so thankful. We'll never forget the feeling of pride we had during this visit, seeing how happy we made everyone there. Last but not least, we put a smile on the seniors' faces when we sang and played piano for them. Our community was greatly affected by the success of our project.
Victoria and I encountered many obstacles during our capstone experience. My biggest one was not having any ideas to do for capstone. I left the school in 7th grade and returned for 8th grade. When I returned to the school, I didn't have any ideas. Everybody in the grade already knew what they were going to do and had gotten through 5 out of the 8 steps. Had I been here in 7th grade, an obstacle Victoria and I faced together was getting the senior center to know when we should come and perform. A second obstacle was finding time to get together to practice and learn songs the seniors would enjoy. After overcoming all of these obstacles, we ended up having a great capstone project. Victoria and I learned many things during our capstone experience. One of our biggest obstacles was having to always be prepared. This came into play when we had to go perform at the senior center and preparing for the school talent show. Every time before we went to the senior center, we had to get together and practice the songs. Sometimes it was challenging because we got together at the last minute and the songs were sometimes ones we didn't even know. Once, when we were going to the senior center, Victoria noticed that she had forgotten her music after we had finally gotten to the senior center. I say finally because it was a long walk from Victoria's house. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to go back home and we had to improvise for music. We also had to be prepared when organizing the school talent show. It was really hard for us during rehearsals, with only 2 of us keeping all the kids under control. This also took a lot of patience. We learned a lot about patience during our project. Other than during the talent show, we always had to have patience while at the senior center. It was often hard to perform songs in the loud cafeteria. Our capstone project wouldn't have been possible without the participation of others. First of all, we would like to thank everyone who participated in the school talent show. All of the acts, people who helped with the show, and everyone who came to watch the show. We would also like to thank everyone from the Senior Center, especially Sue Barber, who helped with organizing the dates for when to come and perform. We would also like to thank our parents for their support, and of course Ms. Honor, our advisor, for being there for us since step 1. Thank you.
Just take a second, please, and have my advisees please stand and face the audience. And could you guys give them a great round of applause for their fabulous job.
Great job, guys, so far. Good morning to everybody. I'm Mr. Lewis, and I'm very excited to see this finished result of my capstone group. As Ms. Honor said, they've been working diligently for the past year, and their effort will show clearly when they get up here. So without any further ado, let me introduce the first couple. We're actually going to go slightly out of order than it is listed in your program. We're first going to welcome Allison Flaherty and Nicole Desimoni, who doesn't say there, but they worked with the Babysitting Animal Humane Society, and they'll tell you more about that.
Hello, BFCCPS. I'm Allie Flaherty.
And I'm Nicole Desimoni.
For our capstone project, we chose to donate both money and supplies to Baypath Humane Society. Baypath is a shelter that takes in homeless, abused, or unwanted cats and dogs. We chose this because we love animals and we both have dogs. Baypath relies solely off of donations, so we thought it would be a good shelter to help out. I have volunteered at Baypath Humane Society before, and I knew it was a very good shelter, but it still had a lot of needs. To educate our community, we handed out flyers at various locations such as Stop and Shop and D'Angelo's. While handing out flyers, we also talked to many people to educate them about our project. We also sold food at Stop and Shop and at the talent show. While we were selling our food, we told people what we were doing for Capstone, and we educated them about Baypath. We put out a donation box at Bedman to raise more money.
One obstacle that we faced was our schedules. Due to our busy schedules, we often had to put off different aspects of our project. While we were trying to put up donation boxes, we had a hard time finding places that would let us put them out. People either wouldn't let us put them out at their locations, or we wouldn't be able to get back to each other and we would just get lost in contact. And therefore, when we thought we were going to put up 2 or 3 boxes, we only ended up putting 1 out. Another obstacle that we faced was finding an efficient way to raise money. We had planned to do a lot of fundraisers, but we never got around to them and kept putting them off. The last obstacle that we faced was a lack of communication. We kept forgetting to call each other and didn't communicate very well. This led to us putting off many fundraisers to the last minute.
We didn't end up overcoming all these obstacles, and we're still able to meet our goal.
One positive result of our project is that we were able to learn how to work together as a team. Also, we got to raise money and supplies for Bay Path Humane Society, and we were able to educate others about both the needs of Bay Path and animal abuse. We learned that it really feels good to be able to help people out, especially for a cause that we both support. Also, we learned a lot about Bay Path and what they do. There are many positive results from this project.
We learned many things from doing this project. One thing that we learned is to make time for Capstone before you sign up for other activities. We both had other activities that often conflicted with our project. Also, we learned that if you have a partner, you need to communicate with each other. Due to our lack of communication, we didn't take advantage of free time that we ended up having. And there were a lot of days that we realized we could get together, but we didn't because of our communication. And we also learned that if you want to work with a partner, you should choose someone who you have a similar schedule to. That way you know that there's time you can get together. The other thing we learned is that most people want to help you, but you just need to ask them. For example, sometimes we were afraid to ask people because we didn't think they would say yes, but once we asked, we were surprised when they were happy to help. Overall, this project has taught us many things and had many positive results.
We both really enjoyed doing this project, and we had a lot of fun while doing it. It feels really good to be able to help people out. Even though we put many fundraisers off, we were still able to complete our project. We were able to raise a total of $200 and about $70 worth of supplies for Bay Path, which was our goal.
All in all, we are very happy that we chose to do this project and help out Bay Path Humane Society. We are both very happy with the outcome of the project and had a lot of fun while doing it.
We would like to thank some people for helping us with this project. Our parents for driving us everywhere and supporting us the whole time.
Vetmed and Stop and Shop for allowing us to hold fundraisers at their locations.
Victoria and McKenzie for letting us sell food at the talent show.
Lucy, Briana, Victoria, Haley, and many more for helping us sell food at Stop and Shop.
Our advisors, Mr. Lewis and Mrs. Colich, for supporting us and helping us along the way, and our advising groups for giving us advice and ideas.
And everyone else who helped us throughout this project. Also, good luck to the 7th grade.
Nice job, ladies. Again, like I said, we're going to go slightly out of order. But next, I'd like to welcome to the front our good friend Chris Baker.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Baker. For my capstone project, I decided to do a walk for liver disease. The organization that set up this walk was the American Liver Foundation. This walk was in Boston on September 24th. I did this project because I know a little bit about liver disease, and I know someone who has a form of liver disease. Throughout this project, I tried to educate others. I did this by asking friends to walk with me, but that did not happen. I also tried to tell friends and family about my walk. And I talked to my advising group by telling them a little bit about what I know about liver disease and just, asking them to walk with me. An obstacle that I faced was procrastination, and I did not follow my action plan, so that was an obstacle. And another obstacle I faced was going to summer camp, and this was an obstacle because I planned to do some things during the summer camp, such as like raise money for my project. And I did not try as hard as I could to reach my goals. And there are some positive results of my project, such as me and my mom learning some facts about liver disease, such as liver disease is one of the top 10 deaths in the causes of death in the United States, and 1 out of 3 Americans have fatty liver disease. And another positive result is that I was able to donate around $100 to the American Liver Foundation, and I got a good exercise by walking, and I got in better shape. And over the process that I did this project, I learned a lot about Capstone and just about the walk. And I learned that once you try to follow their action plan, because it just helps you out and it'll make Capstone easier. And it helps you stay on track with your project. And about the walk, I learned that like if you're doing a walk, you should try and practice like by doing smaller walks, and that like and yeah, I would like to address the 7th graders. So like just don't procrastinate and try to follow your action plan, because that just helps out a lot. And try and have fun with your project. Yeah, thank you to like all my classmates and my parents and Mr. Lewis, and yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Next, we would like to welcome Alexandra Jackson.
Hello, my name is Alex Jackson. For my capstone project, I worked with Reach Out for Youth. Reach Out for Youth is a scholarship program at the YMCA that helps people in our community who would like to use the facilities of the YMCA but are unable to. I wanted to help Reach Out for Youth because I enjoy and have enjoyed spending time at the YMCA, and I wanted to give people a chance to have as good experiences there as I have. To educate people on my project, I put a flyer in the pink sheet describing what I was doing to help my organization. I enjoy arts and crafts, so for my capstone, I decided to make jewelry. I went to the talent show and set up a table where I also helped raise money. I handmade each piece of jewelry, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces, based on the order sent in by the person. I also participated in the Run for Bob, where I received donations from family and friends, which helped raise money for my capstone. My goal was to raise $1,000. I chose a capstone that I enjoyed because I wanted to have the ability to have fun while completing my capstone. Even though I tried my hardest not to run into challenges, I still faced a few minor setbacks. I had some trouble getting the word of my capstone out to the public. I had my flyer all done, but I continuously forgot to send it into the pink sheet. This did not help me because the longer I waited, the more flyers there would be, and the harder it would be for my capstone to stand out for other people. Thankfully, my parents were always there pushing me to be ahead and help me get everything done as quickly as possible and to the best of my ability. Another obstacle I faced was my goal. My goal was to raise $1,000, but I fell $185 short with a total of $815. This was disappointing to me because I had tried very hard to reach my goal, but I plan on continuing my capstone until I reach my goal of $1,000. Even though there were some obstacles, there were still a large amount of positive results that came from my capstone. Even though I have not yet reached my goal, I did raise $815, which is a large amount of money. Another positive result was the ability to help the YMCA. I love the YMCA and all the programs it has to offer, so I was so glad to help. I'm glad I could help the people in our community use the YMCA and make memories there as I have. A third positive result was the challenges. The Run for Bob was a large challenge that I faced. The run is a 5K, which is about 3.5 miles. I am not a runner, and this is one of the reasons why I chose participating in the Run for Bob. I completed the Run for Bob, but it was not easy. A final positive result for me was not procrastinating. I procrastinate on almost everything I do, and I was so proud to complete this project without running into this problem. Challenging me was what I wanted to do in Capstone, and I am so glad I could help a cause that I love with such great results. Throughout the Capstone period, I learned that serving the community is something that everyone can do and feels good once it's done. I also learned that to get the results wanted, the proper amount of effort needs to be put in. A final thing that I learned was, there will be minor setbacks and large obstacles, but if you continue trying and pushing forward, you can complete everything. Good luck to the 7th grade, and congratulations to the 8th grade for completing our 2011-2012 capstone. Thank you.
All right, we're going to keep this going with Ashley Jacques.
morning, BFCCPS. My name is Ashley Jacques, and for my capstone, I touched upon the subject of poverty. Poverty is one of the many important issues to me, and this is why I decided to base my capstone on this subject. Poverty is the state or condition of having insufficient or little money, goods, food, and means of support. There are many ways to help fight poverty, which is something that I struggled with, finding how I wanted to help. I had many ideas, some that just seemed too unrealistic. But with the help of my advisor, I was soon able to figure out a plan that would work. For my capstone, I was going to make blankets and donate some to the Salvation Army and to a hospital in Haiti. While this seemed like a great plan, I had a lot of trouble sticking to my action plan. Procrastination had a big effect on this. When I finally got going, I was not able to do as much as I had planned in the beginning. I had to raise money by doing odd jobs to buy fabric. I raised about $120 to buy fabric, and next I set up bins at school and church for my blanket drive. I put a notice in my church's bulletin, and I collected blankets from family and friends as well as from church and school. I made the blankets with my family. While doing this, I was spreading awareness by telling people about the need for blankets and how important they could be for people. Although the earthquake in Haiti was 2 years ago, the country has still not fully recovered, and there are many people still living on the streets. I ran into many problems while doing my capstone. I did not use my time efficiently and had a few setbacks. At first, I was going to see if I could get donations of fabric, and I was so sure that this would work, but was rejected after sending an application in for a donation. This affected my capstone because my plan was very dependent on this donation. Another problem I faced while doing my capstone was thinking of a fundraiser to do and getting started. And as I said, a lot of this was because of procrastination. My advice to the 7th graders going to start capstone is when choosing your topic, pick something that is reasonable. You may have some great ideas, but make sure these will be things that you can manage. And try and have fun while doing your capstone. Do your best to stay on track and follow your action plan. Capstone was a great learning experience for me, and I have taken a lot out of it, such as community service is something you should feel good about. I also learned about how to be more organized and how to manage my time wisely. I am thankful to the many people who have helped me along the way. My parents, my family, Mr. Perna, Mr. Lewis, my advising group, and my friends. And I wish the best of luck to the 7th grade on completing their
Riley Booth is not here today, but I would like to encourage you to take a look at the blurb that she wrote up, and hopefully you will get a chance to see her capstone at a later point in time, because she did some terrific work on that. In the meantime, we would like to welcome Jacob Wagner.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacob Wagner, and today I'm going to tell a little about my capstone project. For my project, I installed a wooden barrier near a pull-out area in the Milford Bike Trail. I chose to work with the bike trail because it is a beautiful paved path that runs through the woods that people can walk, skate, bike, etc. along. I personally love the trail for the scenery, the calm air, and biking that it provides. When I began my capstone project, I was a little clueless about what I was supposed to do. When I started looking for ideas, some of my mom put out for me were projects at church for the Boy Scout troop I belonged to, but the one that really stuck was her suggestion of working on the bike trail. So after we looked on the website and emailed some of the bike trail committee members, we decided to attend one of their monthly meetings. On the website, they said some of the things that they needed to put in were things like trail signage and trailblazers. When I suggested this to the committee, they told me that there were a few other things I could do that weren't listed on the website. So at the first meeting I attended, I talked about what capstone was and what I wanted to do.
One thing that did come up was handicap access. The person who suggested it said one particular place I could work on, so the end of the first pullout area, where there's no warning that the trail was ended, and people with certain disabilities could easily continue beyond the trail and fall into the lake. I decided to put a barrier in to help make the trail safer. It was a very long process. If anyone wants to do a project for the town, you should start early, because all your plans have to be approved by many different committees. I emailed the Milford Commission on Disabilities, and they gave me some ideas, as well as a list of the requirements. I took the ideas and requirements and drew a couple of different plans. I took that blueprint and emailed it to all the committees, the Commission on Disabilities, the Bike Trail Committee, and the Town Highway Department. I got them all approved, but that took time because everybody had their meetings on different dates. I took my plan to the next bike trail meeting, and they said I was ready to go. Getting support wasn't easy at first. The Bike Trail Committee was willing to fund me up to $100, but I still needed to find places that would hopefully sell at a discount: anchor bolts, epoxy glue, generators, wood, paint, etc. We found most of this stuff at a discount and had the drill actually donated. We chose safety yellow paint for the color of the wood because it would signal caution and everybody would be able to see it. We got the right style of link and rented the generator the day of. Putting the barrier wasn't easy. We had to drag all of our equipment out into the woods along the trail. First we cleared holes and drilled into the ground. Then we put the bolts in, put the wood on top, and put the caps on the top of the bolts. When the glue dried, we put on the caps. The next day, we came back and drilled 4 caps over the bolts to make sure no one would take the barrier and rip it off the ground. After we finished, we took pictures and returned our equipment. I talked to the director of the Friends of the Milford Upper Charles Trail, and they did a small feature on the local cable channel, as well as a news article in the paper. I need to thank my mom for keeping on my case and make sure I didn't procrastinate, and my dad for helping me with the carpeting stuff. Also, I need to thank the companies that gave me a discount and, in some cases, donations for materials for my project. Good luck to the 7th graders, and nice job, 8th grade.
If you could, please, another round of applause for my advising group. Great job, guys. Stand up, stand up. I'm really proud of you guys. Good job.
Hi there. My name is Mrs. Schaefer, and I had the distinct pleasure of advising a wonderful group of 7 terrific students and interesting people. They are the dynamic duo of Jeremy Gann and AJ Gupta, who really truly seem to enjoy conducting the capstone. They're a wonderful team. They had a lot of fun. Also, Jonathan Tommaso. Be forewarned, as you never know what's in store with his infectious personality. I'm sure today will be no exception. Emily Moore, AKA the comeback kid. Emily had to face some obstacles that were probably unique to her situation. She faced them head on, no pun intended. She surmounted them, and she smiled and was happy the entire time. We also have Jenny Sheehan, who persevered, worked very, very hard, and I think learned an awful lot about herself. Wonderful things during this endeavor. Isabella, Izzy Fernandez, who worked on something that was very heartfelt, a very personal capstone, which the entire school, or many in the school, got to assist in and witness. And lastly, Sam Harrell, who will be going tomorrow. Sam worked very hard with his trio, constantly staying on track, with a little help from me, and a great smile along the way. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Batman and Robin, Jeremy Gann, and AJ Gupta.
Hello, students of BFCCPS. Our names are AJ Gupta and Jeremy Gann. We are currently 8th graders in Mrs. Schaefer's advising group. For our capstone project, our goals were to help students in the library with day-to-day activities and to raise $500 to help offset the cost of new technology in the library.
Our first goal was to help the students in the library with everyday items. The aiding of the students could involve in cleaning up the glue sticks, putting away the markers, or putting the scissors in the cup. If the students were having trouble cutting out the reindeer or menorahs
for the holiday activities in the library. We would help them cut them out and also write their names on the back.
Our second goal was to raise $500 to offset the cost of the new technology in the library. We began raising money starting on October 5th, 2011 with our bake sale. Through one day of sales, we raised around $70. The goods weren't gone, however, creating a second day of selling goods, and that raised around $80 more, bringing our grand total to $150. Though it was a lot of money, a lot more was still required to reach our goal. I decided that I would do a fundraising get-together to raise around $100 more, bringing us around half of our goal, but the picnic went better than expected and we raised $200. In addition to the bake sale and get-together, we decided to sell items of concession at Jonathan Tomaso's movie night. The outcome was disappointing, however, and only a few people showed up. Our total revenue for the night was $21, bringing in a grand total of $371.
My partner and I chose this project because we like to read. This, however, wasn't the only reason. We thought that the library with card catalogs was becoming obsolete, and it was difficult to check whether someone's favorite book was checked in. So we decided to take it upon ourselves to help automate the library. After the technology came in, we would help raise money to go to the schools to help pay for the technology. During the time, we would clean the library in addition to raising the money.
Most of the students have already utilized the technology, and if you have, you know that you can easily look to see whether a book is in using the Gateway Book Lookup, and also how fast checkouts are using the new scanners. The Book Lookup is a software that lets the student type in the author, keyword, or the title of the book, and they can see whether it's checked in or not, similar to the Franklin Library. The checkout system works by a student giving his book to an adult at the desk who scans the barcode of the book. The book is then entered into the system, letting the student have a maximum checkout number of 2 books. The check-in process is fairly similar, requiring the barcode number of the book to be scanned, and then the book will be removed from the child's record of checking out books.
We thank many people in supporting our Capstone project. First, we thank our advisor, Ms. Schaefer, for always being there to guide us every step of the way and bring us back on track in case we ever slowed down. We thank Jonathan Amaso for letting us sell goods at his movie night. We thank the surplus of parent volunteers for helping catalog the books into the system during the summer and into the beginning of the school year. And last, but certainly not least, we thank our parents for driving us everywhere when we needed them to. Some advice for the next year's 8th grade: try not to procrastinate the steps and complete them the day before they're due, but instead try to incorporate them as part of your daily routine to complete parts of each step each day before they're due, to create more free time for you in the end. The Capstone project is a gruesome project, but the satisfaction of knowing you helped out your community is very rewarding. Thank you and have a nice day.
Good job, AJ and Jeremy. Emily Moore?
Hi everyone. My name is Emily Moore, and for my capstone, I read to children in my local library. The reason I chose this for my capstone is because I want to teach the kids how fun reading could be, starting at a young age. When I was younger, my mom read me the same books I read to them, and it gave me a love for reading and learning. I hope that the children I read to would also find a love of reading, just as I did. I conducted a reading group over the summer for every Wednesday, 1 to 1:30 p.m. for children 3 to 6 years old. Every week, I read to them a new Sandra Boynton book and did an activity with them that tied in with the book. Some activities that I did were coloring, making bookmarks, but these children especially loved making puppets inspired from monsters in a book we read. During my capstone experience, I encountered a few obstacles. One was that my original plan for capstone didn't work out. While I was supposed to work with a friend of mine, it didn't work out properly, and we both decided it would just be best if we worked on our own projects separately. Another obstacle was that I was out of school sick for almost 2.5 months. While I was out of school, it was hard to do any work, never mind my capstone. Although that stopped me from doing some important steps in the capstone process, I had already held a reading group over the summer, which was the most important step. Among some lessons I learned with my capstone was to read to a large group of children. Although I had read to some of my little cousins and children I was babysitting, I had never experienced reading to a large group of children. I had to learn to take control of situations, get them to settle down, and begin the book. Some kids were very energetic and were hard to calm down, and I had to learn to be patient with them. Some of the kids would interrupt during the book, and I had to answer their questions patiently and then continue on with the book. Overall, I think that my capstone was a success. The children really seemed to enjoy my reading. Most of the children also came back almost every week and appeared excited and eager to read the story. The librarian appreciated my group because it let her do work around the library without having to watch some of the children and having children run around the library. Some of the parents expressed to me that the children started reading more at home and started checking out more books at the library. That was exactly what I was aiming for. Some people I would like to thank are my mom and dad for helping me set up in the library and for driving me there every Wednesday. If it weren't for them, I don't think my capstone would have been so successful. Miss Liz for helping me coordinate a time and day to hold the reading group every week. My advisor, Mrs. Schaefer, for helping me brainstorm ideas, and my advising group for helping me with my final steps in my capstone process. To the 7th graders who are going to begin the capstone soon, I advise that you stay on track and stick to one project. As I'm sure a lot of others have said and are going to say, don't procrastinate. It makes the whole process a lot slower, and it feels better to be on time with the project than rushing to complete things. Although the capstone is a long and sometimes strenuous project to do, once it is completed, you will feel happy and proud that you were able to help your community. Thank you and have a good day.
Hold on to your seats. Jonathan Tomaso.
Hello, students, teachers, and guests of BFCCPS. I'm Jonathan Tomaso. For my capstone project, I chose the Nike reuse the shoe sneaker drive. I chose this project when one day after purchasing a new pair of Nikes, I came across a postcard that read, Solon Peace. I read more into this and I realized how cool and amazing this project was. The project would take old shoes and recycle them to make athletic playing grounds. If your project collected enough sneakers, Nike would even build one of these athletic grounds in your town. I then knew what I wanted to do. It was like no other collection I had ever heard of before. After a fair amount of time of an average collection of used sneakers, I decided to have a movie night to collect even more shoes. I chose to show the movie WALL-E due to its strong environmental message. The price would be a pair of shoes. My advisor, Mr. Perna, soon approved this idea, and the next thing I knew, I was putting up posters for my movie night. A small problem came up. A few weeks before the movie night, I realized that I didn't really own the movie WALL-E, so I needed to borrow it from Jenny Sheen. On the night of the movie night, I felt prepared and confident that I was going to have a lot of moviegoers. I had put up posters everywhere, made an announcement on the loudspeaker, put up an advertisement in the pink sheet, and even got AJ Gupta and Jeremy Gann to sell concessions to support their capstone project. Despite my efforts, I had a grand showing of 7 kids and adults, including my advisor for the movie. Even though I only had 7 attendees, they were very generous in their sneaker donations. I even got about 50 new air fresheners to make my collection bags easier on my nasal passages. That was from Mrs. Schaefer, put that in here, by the way. My project is proceeding along nicely. I have collected about 225 sneakers. I have now officially expanded my end of collection date to March 25th, and I'm trying to get the Franklin YMCA involved and hoping to involve other Franklin public schools. During this process, I faced a few obstacles. My first was choosing the project. I thought I would work to do pollution awareness and then hold a BFCCPS pollution cleanup day, but that did not work out. Then I was going to work with a partner and due to problems,
I could not work with her. My partner soon realized that she had too much to do during the summer. After deciding upon the Nike Reuse the shoe drive for my capstone, my next problem was the turnout of my movie night. I thought I was going to have a lot more people at my movie night, and thought I was going to have a lot more extra shoes, and that my collection would be done by now. Also, I didn't own the movie, so that was also an obstacle. Throughout all of these problems and delays, I learned that I possessed a few virtues. The first virtue was perseverance. I demonstrated this when I didn't give up when my initial choosing of projects. This did not pan out. The next virtue I showed was temperance. I showed this when I didn't flip out or get angry with small audience showing at my movie night. Instead, I was just thankful for who did show up. This gave me an opportunity to explain my project. I also think that the students that did attend the movie night enjoyed themselves. As of now, I have collected around 275 pairs of shoes, thanks to you all. But I would like to thank a few other people for making my collection a lot easier. First, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for transporting the shoes to my house and letting me use our garage for the storage of the shoes. Mrs. Schaefer for guiding me along even when she had to push me along, and Mrs. Olnowski for helping me put notices in the pink sheet. Thank you all for the wonderful air fresheners, and I hope my garage smells a lot worse by March of 2012.
And next is Izzy Fernandez.
Hello, BFCCPS community. My name is Izzy Fernandez. I would like to start by asking you to do something. First, take a nice deep breath and exhale slowly. Okay, now take in a quick short breath and exhale quickly. Okay, now do this 2 or 3 times. You didn't get quite enough breath, did you? This is what it is like to suffer from COPD, never getting enough oxygen. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This year, for my capstone, I have done a balloon send-off. It is to raise air awareness about COPD, because air is a precious thing to COPD sufferers. I want to tie it together to help send my message home. This disease is caused by many things: smoking, asthma, air pollution, and secondhand smoke. I got this idea of forming a balloon send-off from the Relay for Life. I would sell a balloon, fill it with helium, attach a note card with it, and with a handwritten message for a loved one, and then send it up, kind of like the movie. I thought it would be a wonderful and fun visual that would make an impact while educating people about a disease that is so important. I chose this topic because my grandfather suffered for many years from this disease. He was diagnosed with COPD in 2000 and suffered from this disease for over 10 years. It weakened his lungs, making breathing difficult. Your body needs lots of oxygen to keep your organs healthy. Without oxygen, they slowly break down. Eventually, he needed oxygen tanks all the time. We took a trip to Florida in 2009. It was his very last journey. After we got back, he passed a couple months later. He is one of my heroes for fighting through this. My goal to educate people by having them buy balloons to dedicate to their loved ones or just to support the cause. Many people are diagnosed with this disease, and it is a slow, fatal disease. I feel like people need to know more about this sickness. There are so many people worldwide that have asthma, which is one of the main causes of this disease. My hope in raising air awareness would allow people to participate in this symbolic event and walk away with greater knowledge of COPD. During this time on working on this project, I hit some complications. I was originally going to set up a kiosk at St. Rocco's during summer vacation, but me and my family and I went away to Cape Cod during the St. Rocco's Festival. So that part of my plan of spreading more awareness to the people in the community did not end up working so well. I also ran into some obstacles of putting things off during the first few months of school. Then I ran into the issue of Mother Nature. At first the weather was holding out on me. Well, for a while it held out. Sometimes I had thoughts for some dates, but when I looked at the weather, it did not look so good. I had also experienced the lack of focus on getting this done. My words of advice to the incoming 8th graders and their capstone projects is start early, definitely stay focused, and get it done. Some positive results on my project are that I had many participators. For example, this was a fun event and it was not a struggle to get people to participate. I really enjoyed setting the balloons off. It was more of a success than I expected. I raised $150. This was over my goal of $100. I feel like my speeches to the younger grades were really helpful because they seemed very intrigued with what I was saying. This taught me if you have a good speech, then people will actually listen to what you're saying. On the day of the project, all of the 3rd through 6th graders were amazed at how spectacular the balloons looked soaring through the cold January air. I had set off around 200 balloons. Each and every one was dedicated to a loved one. Overall, I thought it was a very successful project. Throughout this project, I have learned some valuable things to keep in mind and place while doing a long-term assignment like this. Keep your head focused and concentrated. If you stay focused and on track, it will help you in the long run with getting things in on time, done properly, and accomplished well. I have also learned that if you do something fun and exciting, the community of your audience will enjoy it and be willing to participate. In my journey of this project, there were many supporters to help me through it. I would like to thank my mom and dad for constant reminders to get things done and the extra boost of encouragement to push me forward, and my mom's creativity to help me see this vision. My advisor, Ms. Schaefer, for her gentle, firm, and never-ending guidance. She kept me on track and focused. Mr. Perna for his patience and tolerance with my constant date changes and blue sheet submittals. Mr. Cronin for donating the helium tanks and valves. My aunt and uncle for helping me with all of the balloons. Oliver Fernandez, Heather Hill, Jonathan Tomaso, and Emily Moore for helping me tie and hand out the balloons on the project day. And my classmates for supporting me and telling me I could do it. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Last but not least, Jenny Sheehan.
Hi, my name is Jenny Sheehan and I'm in 8th grade. My project is based off the idea of animal abuse and abandonment. I wanted to help them by raising money to pause Plainville Incorporated. One day I was watching TV and the American Society of Prevention of Animal Abuse commercial came on TV and I felt like crying. So this motivated me even more to help pause Plainville. Pause Plainville is a wonderful organization that takes care of cats and other small animals. I started my project, my mom and I brainstormed. We came up with the idea of selling dog bones, homemade organic animal treats with money raised to benefit animals. I have to say it was a rather good idea. Props to Mom. Well, going to trivia night, I had high hopes. Leaving, not so much. I went home with around only $18. We had to make an impromptu decision. What now? Again, my brilliant mom thought of the flea market. That Sunday, my dad and I got up really early to head over to the flea market in Grafton. We snagged one of the first inside spots and set up. A lot of people would ask what a capstone was. Explaining it wasn't so hard, and telling them about the organization got even easier. A struggle I faced was keeping positive. Watching people go back and forth with bags of stuff they had bought brought me down because they ignored my booth. It got to around 1 o'clock, and my dad and I had been there for around 8 hours. My dad was looking around, and I was alone with my poster. I stood up and smiled at a group passing by, and they turned to look at my poster, almost immediately reaching for their pockets. I think I received more than $10 by just that one group. My dad and I stayed at the flea market till 4 and left the flea market with a lot more money and only a few bones. A lot of people had just stuffed dollar bills in the change jar, which did help. The positive thing about this project is the reward, not the object. It's thinking about all the baby kittens and the small animals rolling around, meowing and barking. Thinking about that made me feel really warm and fuzzy inside. The lessons I learned would be not putting things off and to keep your head up. I really wanted this capstone to go well, but I wasn't pleased with the results. So with the help of Ms. Schaefer, I got the chance to do a second capstone project, one closer to home. Ms. Schaefer is the recess coordinator, and she told me that many times fellow younger students did not have much to do at recess, as there isn't a lot of sports equipment for them to play with. So I, along with my advising group, painted out hopscotch, foursquare, and a basketball team on the blacktop. The day we headed out to the tarp was actually really fun. Sam Harrell, Jeremy Gann, AJ Gupta, Emily Moore, Izzy Fernandez, Jonathan Tomaso were a big help. Ms. Schaefer brought out some stuff, and it really helped a lot. I definitely couldn't have done this by myself. I don't know what I would have done without them. Also, I went to various stores with my mom and dad requesting donations. I didn't ask for much, maybe a basketball or a few thing bags. Now the kids have a more enjoyable recess. I'd like to thank my mom for helping me brainstorm and my dad for driving me. Most of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Schaefer for helping me with my additional capstone, making myself feel more successful. And again to my advising group. You guys are like family to me, and I'm so thankful that you're in my group. Good luck, future 8th graders, on your project next year. You may not get it the first time around, but if you keep trying, you'll finish this.
I just wanted to add that I have come to enjoy the company and the very lively discussions that this group has brought forth every week. My advisees, take a bow.
I wanted to take a chance to thank our parents for attending today. As many of our students said in their presentations, your support and your dedication to this process is a year-long, 9-step process that these students and families have gone through is unbelievable and is definitely necessary for their success. I have one word to describe today and what I'm assuming is going to be tomorrow, and that is extraordinary. There are extraordinary students who presented today, extraordinary projects that they worked on, extraordinary parents who supported them, and extraordinary advisors who worked with them to make sure that these projects were as successful as they are. I would like to ask our 3 advisors whose groups presented today to please stand. It is through their hard work and dedication that our students are able to stay on track. So thank you guys very much. It is not an easy process for advisors either, and you guys did an amazing job. Let's give them a moment. I am very excited for tomorrow. We will have Madame Malouf's group presenting, Mrs. Kolich's group presenting, and Mr. Belke, thank you, I'm sorry, Mr. Belke's group presenting. So I'm very excited to see those projects and presentations, and I'm expecting them to be as extraordinary as they were today. I want to thank the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade audience for being such an amazing participant in these projects. A lot of you attended them, a lot of you helped them to come to fruition, and you were a fantastic audience today, so thank you guys very much. Tomorrow morning at 8:20, the students will come down for their capstone breakfast, the 8th grade students. I hope that you guys enjoy it. You all very much deserve the celebration of all of the hard work that you have put in. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the rest of our presentations. I'm going to ask that the advising groups and the advisors who presented to stay put. We'd like to take some pictures with you guys, but the rest of you can go ahead and return to class. Thank you very much.
It is a pleasure to welcome all of you back and to welcome our new parents to the second day of Capstone. With graduation, the most significant thing we do at this school is this project. And I want to start by thanking yesterday's presenters. My point of view is some of the best presentations I've seen at this school. I congratulate you. I have no doubt today's presentations will be the same. For our audience, let me first thank you for being partners with us. We are now seeing the fruit of all of our labors as we see our 8th graders stand before our community and present projects that they have done with your help. And through doing these projects, they have made some part of the world, however small, a better place. And there's nothing you can do better than that. We have, as a founding pillar of the school, service. Service not just to our school, but service also to the larger community, the state or the town, and you will hear many presentations today about how the town has been served by projects you have done. And we also have a school-wide service community where we try to involve the Heifer Foundation in what we do, so we will have a national and an international service to all of those constituencies. Is why this school is again this year recognized as the school of character in the state of Massachusetts. And earlier in this fall, we recognized nationally the School of Character. It was recognized because of what you have done. What you have done is done in partnership with your parents, partnership with your advisors, who you see here, Madam Maloof, Mr. Velke, Mrs. Coast, Mrs. Golich, and there's always one club I make in these speeches, and I've made speeches for 100 years. I want to thank, in particular, Mrs. Pellegrini from the town. She represents the town, and she is here to, recognize what you've done, and her presence is to thank you for what you've done. Because what you've done isn't done in other places. And we do it not to be showy, we do it to be character-driven. We think this makes you feel good at the end of your projects, and it makes us all the more proud of you. So I'm not here to speechify, I am here to turn this over to our speakers today. Like yesterday, we have 3 advisors, and they will present each of their advising groups. And let me start with Madam Root.
Good morning, everyone. It's funny how the students says they're nervous, they're panicking. I feel like saying to you, the teachers get nervous too. Okay? And we are nervous because we know how much work you've done, and it's that moment where you have to express yourself and you have to deliver what you've done. It's been a whole year, you've been working on it. And the fact that you are presenting today, you have succeeded and you've done a wonderful job. You are not a politician. You are not here, we're not going to vote who's the best speaker. You are here to share an experience. So just remember one thing, all the people are here to celebrate you. What a wonderful job you've all done. I mean, yesterday when I heard all the speakers, every one of you is different. I can't say there was a best speaker. Everyone, you've shared a part of you with us. And that's the important thing. My group today, I would like to present my group. It gives me pleasure to present my 9 students, and I'm proud of each one of you. They've been committed and determined throughout the year. And the thing is, some of them said to me that I've been waiting since grade 3 to do a capstone. How many schools do we know in grade 8 do a capstone at that age, 13, 14 years old? That's an incredible, incredible achievement. Very shortly, they're going to share their experiences with you. And I told them that the capstone, in my book, how I see it, it's a journey that you take. It's self-growth, you discover. Some things might not work out, and it's not a problem, as long as you've learned something from it, and to share it with everybody else, and hopefully for better things to come, and many more journeys, and many more self-growth. So congratulations to all, and let's start our celebration with our first speaker, Maddie Williams.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and for my capstone project, I focused on healthy eating to help end hunger. I chose to focus on hunger because after researching in the first 2 steps, I realized that hunger in America was different than what most people think. The reason most families in America are hungry is not that they can't afford food, it's that they can't afford food that gives them proper nutrition. I thought that this would be a good focus for my project. My project had 3 main parts that consisted of donating time, food, and money. For the first part of my project, I asked Grateful Farms of Franklin to donate produce from their stand at the Franklin Farmers Market. I collected and donated over 10 varieties of fruits and vegetables. I collected the produce on Fridays and was able to meet one of my goals of collecting produce for 9 weeks. I decided to have a local shelter, the Medway Family Shelter, be the recipient of the produce. The Medway Family Shelter takes homeless and or abused families from urban areas and gives them a place to reside while they find a better job and a new place to live. The shelter divided the produce among the residents. I was able to meet another one of my goals by making dinner for the residents. I wanted to show the families how easy it was to incorporate fresh food into their everyday meals. So one Friday, after I picked up the produce, I went home and made 3 vegetable pizzas, a salad, and 3 apple cakes. Then I went to the shelter and served the families dinner. The final component of my project was to donate money. I decided to hold a cookie decorating party for the younger grades after school. I asked 2 local grocery stores for donations to help cover the cost of supplies. I made over 100 cookies and had 57 kids participate. I really liked seeing all the smiling faces, and the next few slides are some of my favorite pictures. In the end, I profited $300 and more than accomplished my goal of raising $125 that night. Overall, I think my project was a success. I educated others about my project in a few ways. My family and I learned how much the residents really appreciated the donations of fresh produce because they didn't have access to fresh, nutritious food. I also will teach the people who will read the Healthy Eating newsletter by Mrs. Schwab about hunger in America and how it is different than hunger in other areas of the world. I was very lucky while doing my project because I only encountered one obstacle. This obstacle came while I was preparing for the cookie decorating party. I had sent a flyer home saying that people could sign up in the office before the event. Unfortunately, I didn't know that people usually attach a sign-up sheet to the flyer and have an envelope in the office for collecting this. I didn't do this, so I thought no one was coming. So I went to the curriculum night the day before the event and talked to the parents. I got a few people to sign up, but it still wasn't anything for what I had hoped for. So I just made a lot of cookies and hoped for the best. Fortunately, a lot of people came, they just hadn't signed up before. I learned a lot during my project. While I was serving the family's dinner, there was one woman who stayed to talk to us. I was astonished when she said the produce that I had been donating was the only fresh food that she had had while she was living at the shelter, which had been over 6 months. I couldn't imagine ever going 6 months without eating an apple or grapes. Those are things that I just expect to have. I really understood how lucky I am compared to the people at the shelter and how there are people living in our community who would love to have the kind of life that I lead. My project had many positive results. I learned how to organize an event like the cookie decorating party. I also learned the skill of how to ask for donations and contact organizations. But I think the most important thing that I learned while doing my project was how very lucky I am to have fresh, nutritious food given to me every single day. Thank you to Grateful Farms, Janet at the Medway Family Shelter, my wonderful advisor, Madame, Roach Brothers and Star Market, everyone who came to my cookie decorating party, Julia, Kayla, and Samantha for helping me at my cookie decorating party, and my mom for everything that she helped me with. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Beautiful. And now, Alejandro Coakley.
Good morning, BFCCPS and guests. My name is Alejandro Coakley, and for my capstone project, I had started a school-wide composting program to benefit the earth and the school's organic garden. But what is composting? Composting is the process in which organic materials, like fruits or vegetables, break down to food for plants. I chose this topic for my project because I'm very interested in anything that helps out the environment, and I have some experience with my own compost pile at home. Just this year, Earth's human population reached 7 billion. The garbage that all of us leave behind each year adds up to the billions of pounds of greenhouse emissions. In turn, greenhouse emissions cause drastic climate change all over the world. If the compostable portion of all the meals of all us 7 billion people, if they had one, were composted, that much less would go into the planet's landfills. All they need is to be aware of it, and I could start with my school. With this in mind, I had the motivation to come through with my project. I built 2 compost bins over the summer to start with. Ms. Schwab donated buckets for collecting compostable materials. I raised awareness about my cause by speaking at various lunch periods and putting up helpful posters near the compost buckets. People in the school community contributed to it by saving compostable food scraps every day at lunch period and putting them into the buckets. An obstacle I faced in this part of the process was educating students on what not and what to compost. To this day, that problem has not been entirely resolved, but I appreciate the efforts of anybody who tries to compost. Another obstacle involved a cloud of bugs, making it very uncomfortable to be near my compost pile. I solved this by covering up all the compost with leaves. To raise funds for my project, I hosted a movie night showing Romeo and Juliet. I ran into an obstacle when I tried to schedule the event for a date in mid-November, but the same date had been taken earlier that week. As a result, my movie night was postponed to early December. I ran into another obstacle that I created myself when I ignored the rapidly approaching movie night until the week before. I ended up advertising for it at the last minute with the help of Ms. Schwab. I raised around $200, which sufficiently covered all the costs of materials with leftovers for the future of this project. People at school, like you, still compost their food scraps every day, and I still empty out the buckets into the bins every day after school. Over the duration of my project, I've learned a lot of things. I've learned that it's not hard to inspire those who look up to you, younger kids especially, and to think realistically. I've also learned how to properly operate an electric drill and how to hammer giant staples into wood without hitting my fingers. For the 7th grade students near the start of Capstone, I have some advice. Keep in mind that during your project that there are at least 50 other students doing the same thing, and opportunities disappear quickly. If there's a chance to fundraise or speak in public, don't think twice and take it before anybody else does. I learned that lesson as well during this experience. There are too many people to thank for helping me during this project, but I'll start by thanking Madame Maloof, my advisor, for guiding me in the right direction and helping me during the movie night. I'd like to thank my family for helping and supporting me. And I'd like to thank Ms. Schwab for all the help that she's done, up all the way until making my movie night a success. I'd also like to thank the faculty and classmates who helped me during this event, and all those who came to attend, and all those who compost regularly. I want to thank Stop and Shop in Franklin for their generous donation to my fundraiser, and last but not least, I'd like to thank Mr. Marcoux. I'm very proud of the hard work that I've done on my capstone project, but this project is not over. You can still compost your fruits and vegetables daily, and I encourage you to do so. Helping the environment is a great thing to do, and everybody should make a contribution in some way, shape, or form. My hopes for the future are that a group of responsible 7th grade students take on this project this spring, because there's still much to do for this cause. So to speak, I've only just reached the topsoil of this wide range of possibilities. Thank you for your attention.
Bravo indeed. Thank you, Alejandro. Amazing, both of you, Maddie and Alejandro. And let's welcome Lucy Hemingway.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lucy Hemingway, and I'm an 8th grader here at BFCCPS. Like my classmates, I do a capstone project that started in the middle of 7th grade. For my capstone project, I worked with the organization A Maline Thanks to make cards for soldiers. Their mission is to show their appreciation to the men and women who are in the military and are fighting for our country. It all started with one high school girl named Shauna Fleming who wanted to send a mail-in cards to our troops. I decided to hold 3 card making classes for the students at BFCCPS to make cards to send to soldiers to do a million things. The reason why I chose this was because I wanted to do something for soldiers, since they are the people that protect us from harm. I also wanted to work with young kids because I just love kids. I enjoy doing art projects, so card making was a great way to do it. To get students to sign up for the class, I created a flyer and sent it home in the pink sheet. At the class, I talked to the students about their program, and I also told them what the organization is, what it does, and who it sends the cards to. I also told them about the person that started the organization. I had to tell my family all about my capstone project because they would be a major part of it. We asked my friends to donate supplies, and also my parents bought supplies. My mom drove me to places to gather materials, and she also came to each class to help me with the kids in card making. At the end, my family sat together with the leftover supplies and made even more cards. Also, some of my friends came to help out with the classes, which was very helpful. My original plan was to benefit Cards for Kids, but I needed to change it to A Million Thanks. Cards for Kids is an organization that sends cards to children living in troubled areas around the world to bring smiles to their faces. I had already started to plan and prepare, but then I got an email from Kaylee, the founder, saying that she didn't need any cards, but instead needed money for shipping cards she had already collected. In my opinion, Capstone isn't just about raising money. It's also about educating people about your cause. I met with Mrs. Schwab, Mr. Perna, and my mom over the summer to decide what to do. We came up with a solution to switch to making cards for a million things, but still donate some money to Cards for Kids as well. To gather supplies, I sent out an email asking for donations of supplies and materials from family and friends. We then had to drive and pick up all these supplies from different people, and that took some time. I also went to Michael's, hoping to get supplies donated, but they were not able to donate anything from the store. I would have to go through the corporate main office to be able to try and make donations. It would take too much time to be able to do that. They were only able to give me a discount on supplies. During the classes, we had a big variety of materials. Sometimes the students all wanted to use one particular kind of sticker, and there weren't enough for everyone, so they would get upset. I was able to comfort them and help them pick something different in the end. From the beginning, getting the green light from Mr. Perna at the end of 7th grade was a positive result. Also, getting the word out about my classes and having such a great response was great. At each class, I had over 15 kids, and that was just what I was hoping for. My goal was to make 150 cards, and after getting home from each class, I would go and count the cards, and I was excited to see that I was getting so many cards. I remember feeling overjoyed that the number of cards was getting higher and higher after every class. In the end, I was able to send 200 cards and a $75 donation to A Million Thanks. In addition, I donated $25 to Cards for Kids to help with their shipping costs. During my capstone project, I learned about two great organizations, Cards for Kids and A Million Thanks. Both of these organizations do great things for people in our world. I also learned that it takes a lot of patience to work with little kids. I learned that anything can happen and it's important to be flexible. I wasn't even expecting from my original organization to tell me I couldn't make cards. Most importantly, I learned that I'm capable of doing things like this. Finally, I would like to say thanks to many people who helped me with my capstone. The charter school for letting me do this wonderful project, Mr. Perna and Mrs. Schwab for helping me when I didn't know what to do, my family for driving me places and supporting me, my friends for coming to my classes and being there to help, Cards for Kids for teaching me that anything's possible, and A Million Thanks for letting me do this capstone project. The kids who came to my classes, my advisor group for hearing what my capstone was about multiple times, and last but not least, Madame Malou for being such a great advisor and supporter throughout my capstone process. Thank you everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Incredible, great, good job everyone. And let's present Bailey Naus, who's in my group, will be doing hers with Tom Brennan, who's in Mr. Valky's group, and Samantha Matatal, who's in Mr. Lewis's group. Come over, please.
Hello everyone, our names are Bailey Naus, Tom Brennan, and Samantha Matatal. Last year, when all the advising groups joined for our first capstone meeting, the school garden was offered as a legacy project. A legacy project is a project that someone has already done in the past and can be done again but has to be improved upon. We decided that the school garden was definitely something we could all work with, and we loved the idea. With this capstone project, we were given the chance to help educate the school community about eating healthier and grow fresh vegetables for the Franklin Food Pantry. Samantha, Tom, and I were told by Mrs. Schwab to keep a journal during our experience with the garden. We recorded when we met and also when we gardened. A few of our entries were of the time that we planted vegetables with the younger grades. We got the chance to plant healthy foods with these students. We felt this was a great way to get the younger grades at BFCCPS involved with community service. We also all had a really fun time meeting with them and teaching them how to properly start and take care of a garden. Another way we educated the community was by handing out our produce during lunch. This was great because not only did the younger grades who planted with us see their progress, but a lot of them also enjoyed the vegetables. The majority of the older grades enjoyed the produce, and a lot of them actually asked for seconds. Along with passing out the fresh vegetables, we also got a chance to speak to the students at lunch. We told them about our project and how we have taken over the school garden and improved upon it. We also brought up the idea of having your own garden at home and how beneficial it can truly be. We taught the community the main lesson that even though having a garden can be tough work, the result of healthy food could change your life.
While we were working on our capstone project, we found a lot of things that went better than planned. For example, we were successful in growing a lot of vegetables that weren't grown last year. Expanding the garden was one of our goals that we achieved. Also, after Ms. Schwab informed us that the peas did a lot better this year than they did in the previous years, we were very excited. Besides our success with the peas, we also had a fun time growing other vegetables, including potatoes, tomatoes, green beans, and lettuce. We had a very successful harvest during the summer with these plants. At one point, we harvested over 15 pounds of potatoes. When we arrived at the Franklin Food Pantry, the people volunteering were so excited with the outcome we had. One day, when Mrs. Schwab and I were walking in and dropping off one of our harvests, we came in with a large amount of produce. When I looked over at the lady we were giving the food to, she looked so happy with our progress. Seeing the excitement really made me light up and realize how refreshing it can be to give to others less fortunate. I will definitely remember the look on her face when I think back to giving produce to the Franklin Food Pantry. We were able to give so much to these people, and I really felt they appreciated the gift of produce.
Through the course of our capstone project, we did not face many problems. We only had one major obstacle, and that was it. The difficulty that our group had to overcome was the hurricane. When the hurricane reached Franklin, it did some damage to the garden. Not only did the hurricane knock some plants over, but it also broke some plants completely in half. The only way to fix this was to put up plant supporters for the lopsided plants and throw out the broken ones. As a result, lots of produce was lost, and we had to spend a lot of time cleaning up the garden beds. We learned many things during our experience in the garden. One thing our group learned was that it takes lots of hard work, self-discipline, and perseverance to create and run a successful garden. The three of us also learned that giving to those less fortunate than us means a lot to the surrounding community and to ourselves. We would like to give a special thanks to Mrs. Schwab for being a huge help to the group and supporting us the entire way through our project. All of our advisors, Mr. Velke, Mr. Lewis, and Madame Malou, for helping us with our speeches and being there for us whenever we needed them. And last but not least, we would like to thank our parents for driving us to where we needed to go and supporting us through the experience of Capstone. Thank you.
Aren't they great? Wow. Okay. Sean Lockhart. Yes.
Hi, my name is Sean Lockhart, and for my capstone project, I chose to create a lost and found system here at BFCCPS. I had originally planned to focus my attention on the New England Aquarium, but after numerous conversations with my mother, we agreed that the lost and found would be a more beneficial cause. I chose this project because there was no permanent home for the lost and found, and I felt that it would be a valuable addition to our school. In my capstone, I hope to educate the community about the importance of organization. It was kind of embarrassing, but after 8 years of going to the school, I still didn't know where the lost and found was. But after finding it, the first step I took toward achieving my goal was to assess its current situation. At that time, the lost and found consisted of large black plastic contractor bags surrounded by smaller trash bags. The bags consisted of varying items of clothing such as hats, sweatshirts, pants, shirts, winter coats, fleece jackets, and even lunchboxes. It was often located in the teacher's restroom near the nurse's office, making it hard for students to access. To make matters worse, several smaller lost and found systems existed throughout the school at the time. On the last day of 7th grade, with the assistance of Mrs. Schwab and my mother, I separated and organized all the items in the old lost and found. I donated all clothing that was not BFCCPS gym wear to the St. Vincent de Paul Society, a non-profit organization that accepts donations of used clothing to be donated to the less fortunate. All BFCCPS gym wear was taken back to my house, washed, and returned to the gym chair in the model room. the next step in my capstone project was to establish a new lost and found system that would be easier to utilize on a regular basis. I chose to use a shelving system with buckets for individual articles of clothing to be labeled sweatshirts, gloves, and hats, etc. During the first week of school, I purchased the shelving units and installed them outside the art room. To educate the school community about the location and role of the new Lost and Found, I was given an opportunity to speak to parents at the 5-8 curriculum night in September. I also put notices in the pink sheet letting the community know the Lost and Found was overflowing. In addition, I sent them a flyer stating that Lost and Found items will be on display in the cafeteria. During this time, parents could come and collect any of their children's clothes. These events took place on Wednesday, Thursday, and will be set up today after school. During the capstone process, I learned a lot. I had to exhibit virtues on various occasions, the most prominent of which was good citizenship, which falls under the virtue of fortitude. Consistently maintaining the Lost and Found on a weekly basis required perseverance on my part, because most of the time the tasks took longer than I would have expected it to. During the capstone project, I encountered a few problems. The first obstacle was choosing a fundraiser to offset the cost of the shelving unit and the bins. My original idea had been to sell popsicles during recess, but the student council was selling them during the week I had planned, and then the weather began to get colder. Eventually, I chose to sell hot chocolate before school, but on my first day of fundraising, I made less than $20 because of poor advertising on my part. However, after a week, I was able to fully reimburse my mother for the cost of the shelving unit and the bins. Finally, maintaining the Lost and Found became difficult because students neglected to put new clothing in the designated bins. Other than that, my capstone project was relatively problem-free. I also hope any parent will take the time to check out the Lost and Found near the art room and see if you can find any of your children's clothes. I feel my capstone process was a success because I was able to establish a permanent and efficient Lost and Found system here at BFCCPS. It's my hope that this project will become one of the BFCCPS legacy projects. Should a 7th grade student choose to continue this project, I'll tell you, it's not an easy task, but the tasks that are the hardest are always the most rewarding when you finish them. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank first my wonderful advisor, Madame Maloof, along with Ms. Schwab, my mother, and Mr. Perna for helping me throughout this project. Thank you.
Next, Kierum Saraglu, Sean Cronin, who is Mr. Lewis. Kierum Saraglu is my advisee. Sean Cronin, who is Mr. Lewis's advisee, and Sam Harold Schaefer's advisee.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Kierum Saraglu.
I'm Sam Harrell. I'm Sean.
And our capstone project was predominantly about getting healthy and living a healthy lifestyle. My two partners, Sam and Sean, mainly focused on the physical exercise portion of this and just getting active, while I focused on eating healthy and making smart food choices. And we chose to emphasize these two topics for two main reasons. First, obesity, which is an ongoing epidemic in the United States, especially in young people, affects over 60% of the country. And second, we wanted to just give people easy ways to make smart food choices and prevent obesity. And we spread awareness about our project through a variety of outreach activities, which included first, we had the Get Active program, which ran for 4 weeks every Monday after school. Second, we presented a PowerPoint presentation at an assembly at the beginning of the school year. And finally, we contributed articles to Mrs. Schwab's Healthy Newsletter.
We encountered a few obstacles that hindered our progress. When we ran the Get Active program, we did not anticipate that there'd be stronger interest among the lower grades, and this meant that we had to change certain things to make it more informative and entertaining for younger kids. Second, some kids from the lower grades were uncooperative and rowdy at times. To resolve this problem, we organized ourselves into groups. For example, when 21 kids broke up, we broke up into teams of 3, in which each of us were in charge of 7. Finally, collaboration among the 3 of us was difficult initially, as we weren't communicating and nobody was clear on each other's responsibility. However, we quickly came to the realization that to adequately support our individual capstone projects, we need to maintain close communication and coordination with each other.
And we believe that our capstone project was a success. First, in the Get Active program, kids had the opportunity to run around and play sports for the first 45 minutes. And then 15 minutes, we dedicated that time to give them a healthy snack and teach them why the snack was good for them and how to make smart food choices. And next, besides the Get Active program, I also ran a healthy food drive during the holiday season. This was meant to benefit families around the town of Franklin that could not sufficiently put food on their table during the holiday season. And they did not return with an exact weight of all the food, but judging by how heavy it was, I assume I definitely raised a good amount of food.
Throughout this project, we have learned a lot of lessons and that we would like to share to the incoming 8th graders who are going to do the Capstone project. Have fun with it. Pick a topic that you're going to truly enjoy so that way it doesn't turn out to be boring and not fun. Do not hesitate to brainstorm ideas with your parents, teachers, and even peers. Always remember to promote and market your project to the community. Put it in the pink sheet. Put posters up. And start early. It really helps to finish it on time. And determine whether your Capstone project complements another individuals like me and Sean's and Kierum. Well, we all had a same concept in ours.
Giving back to the community is truly a rewarding experience, whether it's volunteering for a community event, helping out a neighbor in need, or making a donation. The act itself doesn't matter. Even the smallest act of change can spark. Even the smallest act of giving can spark change.
We'd like to finish off with some thanks. So first, we'd like to thank our advisors, Mr. Lewis, Mrs. Schaefer, and Madame Maloof. Without them, this project wouldn't have been as successful as it was. Also, Dr. O'Malley for letting my advising group occupy his office. And then our teachers and parents, especially my parents, at first I was unsure about what I was going to do as a project, but they gave me some ideas, and eventually I ended up collaborating with Sean and Sam. And finally, we'd like to thank the students who participated and helped supervise the Get Active program. They were a big help, so thanks everyone.
Samantha Moshe? Yes.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Samantha Moshe, and for my Capstone project, I organized and led activity classes at the Medway House Family Shelter for Homeless Children. My prior volunteer experience with local poverty included things such as helping the Friends of Franklin organization and donating items to a family shelter in Milford. This prompted me to learn more about family homelessness. After doing some research, I realized that while it is a serious issue, I could do something to help. When families become homeless, there can be drastic effects on the children. They may not be able to participate in activities that they once enjoyed. After learning this, I wanted to help the kids feel more at home at the shelter. So I created and held activity classes called Fun Time. These interactive playtimes gave them a chance to have fun with some of the other residents. The Medway House Family Shelter truly cares for families as they help them transition out of homelessness. The well-run facility houses up to 12 families at any given time. Each family has their own private bedroom and shares the rest of the common areas with the other residents. After I first visited the shelter, I knew that the residents there would definitely benefit from my help. To educate others in our community about the issue of family homelessness, I wrote an article for my parish's quarterly newsletter, The Weave. It is distributed to over 15,000 people in the parish. I wrote about how families become homeless, where they can go, how their sudden change of surroundings affects their kids, and how people can help those in need. I also included my personal experiences working with the Medway Family Shelter. After the newsletter was published, I received many congratulations on the compelling article. Some people also told me that they were inspired to start helping others in their own community. By bringing this important problem to their attention, it hopefully made them realize that it's closer to home than they may think. I was so delighted to hear that my writing had such a positive influence on my community. During the course of my capstone project, I thankfully did not encounter many obstacles. One obstacle that I was faced with was the unexpected young age of the children who attended the first fun time session. Because these were drop-in classes, I didn't know ahead of time exactly who would be coming. I had planned the activities for older kids, but was surprised when they were all under the age of 2. Most of the activities, like story time and arts and crafts, weren't things that toddlers were particularly interested in. They just wanted to eat the Play-Doh and crayons and wouldn't sit still when I was reading to them. So, on the spot, I had to change the plan. Instead, we danced to music that I had brought, blew bubbles, and played outside. The kids still had fun, and I was sure to bring activities for a wider age range after that. There are many positive results of my capstone project. Even though some of the kids couldn't talk, I definitely noticed that the children at the shelter were enjoying the fun time sessions. Sometimes their parents joined in as well, especially for arts and crafts. Everyone came back again and again, always with a big smile on their face. In addition to holding the fun time sessions, I also wanted to do something that would be a more permanent addition to the shelter, something that would always be there, even when I was not. So, at my third fun time session, the kids and I painted and decorated paper leaves to hang on a bulletin board in the dining area. A few days later, I came back to give the board a mini makeover so that it could serve as an ongoing showcase for the kids' artwork. My mom and I painted the frame and added a fun pattern. We also designed and hung a banner up at the top reading, "Home is where the heart is." I added a special personal touch to the room. One of the things that I learned from working on this project is that donating money isn't the only way you can help an organization. While they do need monetary donations, sometimes a person's time is more valuable than money. I donated my time and effort to the Medway Family Shelter, and I think they benefited from this more than they would have if I had just made a donation of a sum of money. One tip I have for the 7th graders starting their own capstone journeys is to take lots of pictures. It's nice to look back at all the pictures afterwards and realize all the great things you've accomplished. And they also help enhance your PowerPoint. Also, make sure that throughout the entire process, you take a moment to enjoy yourself and have fun. A lot of people helped me with my project and would not have happened without them. I want to thank my advisor, Madame Malou, for helping me through the entire capstone process and also getting her hands dirty with finger paint. Janet, the volunteer coordinator at the Medway House Family Shelter, for allowing and helping me to do so much there. And finally, my family, especially my mom, for supporting me the entire time, coming to all the fun time sessions with me, helping to decorate the bulletin board, and for being my official photographer. In conclusion, I wouldn't have changed any single part of my capstone process. I'm happy with the results of my hard work, especially all the smiles I helped put on kids' faces. I really enjoyed myself and got to know some special people over the course of the 4 months that I was there. I understand more about family homelessness now, and I'm compelled to continue to help. I also helped our community learn about this issue and realize that they too can make a difference, no matter how large or small it may be. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
There has been a bit of a change in the program. Heather Hill will go a little bit later on. And as you see, these kids have worked very hard, and it's just an amazing experience. And as you saw, that many people have been involved, and you know, just like Mrs. Schwab's name appears so many times. So there are many people involved besides the advisors. We're here, we want them to be in charge of their capstone. We don't want to take over, it's all their work. So before we go to the next group, can I have the advisee, all my advisees, please stand up to applaud them for their wonderful work. Later on, you will hear, thank you, Heather and Stravia later on. But for now, can we have Riley Booth, is that right?
Hi everybody, no, I'm not Riley Booth. Yesterday, my capstone group presented. Great job to everybody once again. However, Riley Booth was not here yesterday, and we are now graced with her presence today, and she's going to present us her capstone project. Riley.
Hi, my name is Riley Booth. For my capstone project, I decided to touch upon the area of illiteracy. I decided to choose this topic because I love to read and write, but I know that a large portion of the world cannot because they are illiterate. When you are illiterate, it means that you can't read or write. When I was choosing my topic, I immediately was thinking about doing something with illiteracy. At first, I was not quite sure how I was going to evolve illiteracy into my community service project. As we started the capstone process, I began to spread the word of my idea to my friends and family. I really wanted to make a difference and encourage people to read and write. Throughout this experience, I think that I have educated many people on illiteracy and the effects it has on the world today and the effects on somebody's whole life. During my capstone process, I had faced some obstacles that set back my whole process. One obstacle I faced was I did not follow my action plan. Originally, I was going to have a book club, a book drive, and sell bookmarks to raise awareness for illiteracy and to raise money. I did not end up doing the book club because I had procrastinated about it and didn't ask anyone to talk about it. Another obstacle I faced was when I was selling my bookmarks at the talent show. I had gotten sick right before the talent show and had to get picked up. I knew that I had to do something to sell them, so I asked my friends Nicole and Heather Hill to sell them. They had said yes. I did not sell as many bookmarks as I had hoped, but it was better than nothing. The last obstacle I faced was I let time get away from me. I let time get away from me because I didn't start my project early enough, so I didn't talk to anyone about doing a book club, so I eventually ran out of time. If I could redo my capstone project, knowing what I know now, I would definitely start a lot earlier and not let time get away from me. I would get on top of what I needed to get completed. Those are my obstacles I faced during this experience. Although I let time get away from me and I procrastinated during my project, I did have many positive results. I raised around $150 and my goal was to raise $100. All of the money is going to our own BFCCPS school library to buy more books. I am planning to have a book drive starting soon, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could donate any new or used books to my book drive because it's for a good cause and all of the books are going to the Upton Town Library. Throughout the capstone process, I learned many things. One thing I learned is that you can't do this whole project in one day, let alone 1 week. You have to follow your action plan and do not procrastinate. I know that almost everyone presenting today is most likely going to mention procrastination during their presentation, but it is really important. I know when I was sitting in your position last year, I ignored the 8th graders' advice and I did procrastinate. I also learned many things about the problem of illiteracy. Illiteracy has an effect on your whole life. You won't be able to get a good job if you can't read or write. I also learned that 17 to 21 million adults don't read at all or can only read at a 4th grade level. That is what I learned throughout my capstone process. Thank you for listening, and I hope all of you 7th graders do a great job on your projects next year.
Hello, my name is Kelsey Kolich, and I have the distinct pleasure of advising 9 wonderful advisees: Briana Simolik, Melissa Capuccio, Austin Knatzer, Riley Knatzer, Haley Boulay, Mara Lee, who unfortunately is not with us today, Evan St. Germain, Nicole Desimone, who presented yesterday about her work with the Bay Path Humane Society, and Ainsley McStay, who will be presenting later with Mr. Velke's group. Throughout the capstone process, all of my advisees have shown remarkable passion and persistence, and I'm so excited and proud to welcome each and every one of them up here today to talk about their work. First up is Briana.
Good morning, students, parents, and teachers of BFCCPS, and welcome to all of our guests. I'm Briana Samlek, and I chose to continue the recycling capstone project. I chose this topic because the world isn't in its best state right now, and I wanted to do my part to help the earth. That's not the only reason. I've noticed something in my past years at BFCCPS. When recycling first became the capstone project, I noticed that some people were simply too careless to throw their empty water bottle in a different container. When I saw this happening, I became a bit irritated. I realized that one toss could make a difference. So when it came time to choose my capstone, I knew what to do. I decided to take on the responsibility of making sure everyone gave back to the earth. To do this, I decided to educate others about the things they can do to help save the earth. I showed a video presentation in a school assembly so the students could see how to conserve energy, water, and paper in their daily life. Not only did I educate people, but I also put reusable shopping bags in each classroom so the school could recycle plastic. So now the entire school can do its part to save the planet. However, completing all this did have its challenges. I ran into many obstacles while doing my capstone. When I went to Stop and Shop over the summer to ask them to donate reusable shopping bags, I had to go back a few times before they were allowed to make the donation. The first time I went, they said I had to have a letter explaining why I needed them. So I went home and typed one up. When I came back, they said I had to have a letter from my school. So when school started a few days later, I asked Ms. Schwab to write me a letter. Finally, when I returned a third time, I received all 30 bags that I requested. Another challenge I faced was that the town didn't pick up the recycling bins when I put them out to the curb at first. Since the town did not pick up the bins, they were still full, and I could not collect plastic. Because of this, the reusable shopping bags were filling up, and people were complaining. The next week, the bins were still full. So I decided to bring the bottles and the reusable shopping bags home and put them in my recycling bins. When the next week came by, I put the school's recycling bins out, and the town finally took them. I have not had any problems with the bins filling up since. Other than the obstacles I faced, my capstone project was a success. I collected around 500 water bottles each week, which was my goal, and I educated the school by giving an assembly. I also sold pencils made out of 100% recycled cedar at the talent show to help pay for the hooks that the reusable shopping bags hang on and to encourage people to use recycled objects. Although I raised awareness, I did not raise as much money as I had hoped. I raised around $13 and will try to continue selling them. I had finally done my part to help save the world. I learned many things during my capstone project. I learned that it takes a great deal of work to get sorted before you can actually start. You can't just jump right in. Beforehand, you have to make a few calls or send a few emails or get the permission to do a fundraiser or assembly. I also learned that to do a capstone project, you need a lot of patience. Some people or organizations can take a while to respond to you. It also takes patience if you are doing something that continues for the entire year, like me. Finally, I learned that capstone, no matter how big or how small, is a ton of work. So 7th graders, make sure to pick a topic you can handle and will enjoy. I would like to thank a few people before I finish. I would like to give a huge thanks to Jenny Sham for helping me collect water bottles all around the school and wheel the recycling bins out to the curb every week, even though this is not her capstone. I would like to give a big thanks to my parents for driving me places and for supporting me. And I would like to thank Stop and Shop for generously donating reusable shopping bags to my cause. I would like to thank Victoria Eman for helping me create posters around the school for my capstone. I would like to thank Ms. Schwab for getting me on track with my capstone when I was struggling. Finally, I would like to give a big thanks to Ms. Colich, my advisor, for helping me complete my capstone. I couldn't have completed my capstone project without you guys. Thank you. And good luck to the 7th grade students who are doing capstone next year.
Thank you, Briana. Next up, we have Saravia Abaduda, who is in Madame's advising group, and Melissa Capuccio.
Good morning, BFCCPS. My name is Saravia, and my name is Melissa. And for our capstone project, we babysat kids after school. We chose this topic because we love working and playing with kids and seeing them as they get excited and happy. I had been thinking about a topic even before capstone started. I had a hard time choosing my topic. First, I thought I would do gardening, but then I threw that idea out because I wasn't going to be here for the summer, and that's when you need to water the garden. I thought of more topics, but they didn't really work out for me. Finally, I decided I would love the experience of working with kids. I'd never babysat before, so I wanted to experience how it was.
And for me, at first I wanted to raise money for a rare Japanese wildcat, but after some research I found out that they went extinct. After that I couldn't really think of anything, but then I found out that I could do babysitting. I taking care of kids, so I thought that would be a good idea. We educated others about the babysitting events by putting it in the pink sheet, putting it on the board in front of our school, and by making a flyer. During the babysitting events, we did a lot of activities with the kids. We drew pictures and colored them, played card games, played board games, and much more.
We encountered one problem during the project. In one babysitting event, there were 67 kids. This is the largest babysitting event ever. It was really hard to get them to be quiet and stop running around. There were a lot of teachers and parents that came down to help us. We are so fortunate to have them come and help us. Without them, we don't know what we would have done. At the end of the event, we read them books while their parents came to pick up their children.
During this project, we learned that kids are sometimes hard to take care of.
The positives of this project was parents could go to meetings without worrying about their kids.
During this project, we learned to always have a plan B.
For example, the time when there were 67 kids. We didn't have a plan B, so parents and teachers had to come down and help us. The plan B of this would be to have a group activity or watch a movie so that there wouldn't be much moving around or talking.
Since this was a school capstone project and someone had already done it, we wanted to add something to the project. This year, we added a donation drive and put the box in the corner.
Since we kept using Miss Wolf's art supplies, we decided to run a donation to get our own supplies and help replace hers.
We got a lot of donations, so thank you to all who donated some items.
We have some advice for 7th graders. When you choose your topic, be sure it's something you like.
If you choose something you don't like, then you won't have fun with the whole project, and it'll be a chore.
We also have some advice for the 7th graders who want to take over this capstone. Since we made some mistakes, we would like to suggest some improvements to make your babysitting experience better.
We suggest that to have a limit to how many kids could come to one event. That way you wouldn't have too many kids at one time. You could also have people sign up beforehand. That way you would know how many people are coming and you could plan accordingly.
We would like to thank some people for helping us throughout the project. We would like to thank our parents for driving us, all the parents and teachers that helped us,
all the kids that came to the event, Ms. Schwab for giving us ideas and helping us in our advising,
Madame Malou,
and Ms. Kohler for guiding us through the project.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Excellent job. Next, I would like to welcome up Austin Knapsack.
Hello, my name is Austin Knapsack, and I would just like to say hello to the BFCCPS community and all the parents who came. I started Capstone not knowing what I would do. I thought of many ideas like raising money for new computers or having a fundraiser to support an animal shelter. I realized that raising money for new computers would be very difficult because they cost a lot of money for just one. I decided that raising money for a cat shelter would be much more doable. When I came back to school next year, the school had actually bought laptops for all the teachers anyway. Over the summer, there wasn't anything I could do for my capstone except think of an idea to raise the money. I remembered a fundraiser that I had in 5th grade. It was called Penny Wars for the Pennies for Patients Foundation. I used the same idea, although I renamed Pennies for Pots. Sometimes your capstone can be delayed by setbacks that you can't control. I learned a lot by doing capstone this and last year. One thing I learned is that anything can happen to delay an event, controlled or not. When things like this happen, you just have to quickly create ingredients. My original date to start my fundraiser had actually been earlier, but we had a storm and we didn't have schools. This delayed my project. The next week was French week, and I didn't want to have my project then to get confused with the events there. My project got delayed 2 weeks, but I was still able to get my project in the very last week of November. I also learned that helping others can be very rewarding, but not in the sense that you get something back, but you're able to feel good about yourself for what you did. I was very glad that they allowed me to at least help out a little, even with the age limit at the shelter, although I wasn't able to help too much because they didn't want to get into trouble. For 4 days, I brought buckets out and watched the other students compete, pouring the pennies in their buckets and everything else in all the other classes' buckets. I set up the buckets in the hallway between the lunchrooms with the permission of Mrs. Trappis. I earned $180 in 4 days from the fundraiser. My goal was to earn $50, so I was extremely surprised to see that I'd earned so much money. Grades 1 through 8 participated, and Mr. Duke's 6th grade class won.
The fundraiser lasted only 4 days, but I wanted it to last longer because I originally didn't think 4 days would make even $50. I never would have thought that all these coins could raise so much money. All the students were very enthusiastic when they were participating, and some brought huge amounts of coins participating. I like cats and dogs a lot, so this motivated me to work harder. When I did win the money, I got to stay a little and played with the cats and dogs. All the animals at the shelter are rescued, so I was glad to help with the very unfortunate animals. They were very glad that I showed up to help, even though it was impossible to actually volunteer there. I would have liked to have been able to volunteer, and I probably will when I'm older. My project helped the animal shelter Bay Path Humane Society. When I brought the money, they were very happy because they had just run out of bleach, and they told me they needed a lot of bleach, and they were going to buy some with the money. I also bought treats for the dogs and cats and stayed to help out a little bit. Each year, the shelter takes in approximately 30 to 40 stray pregnant cats and hundreds of kittens too young to be put up for adoption. An estimated number in the tens of millions adopted cats are in the United States, and most areas use lethal elimination to get rid of the cats instead of just putting them up for adoption. My project did go well in the end, and I was very happy for what I did. My capstone may have started a little rough and got delayed, but it ended up well and helped all the animals at the shelter. I'd like to thank both my mom and my dad for helping me out with the project the whole way, and I'd also like to thank everyone who participated in the fundraiser. I want to thank my advisor, Mrs. Colich, and my advisor group for helping me with my speech. Finally, I want to thank Mr. Perna for getting my project and my fundraiser approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Next up, we have Riley Canapso.
Hello, my name is Riley Canapso. Over the past year, I've been working on my capstone project. The capstone project was about raising money to buy acoustic guitars for our school. My capstone project was my project was to raise money by having a music concert. I decided to do this because I have an interest in musical arts, and I felt that the school should have better quality guitars. I educated others about my capstone by passing out flyers, announcing during lunch, and announcing it through the intercom at the end of the day. Through the process of completing my capstone, I ran into many obstacles. The first problem was that the school didn't want electric guitars, so I had to change my idea to buying higher quality acoustic guitars. The next problem was over the summer. I was supposed to teach guitar lessons, but time was a problem due to vacations, summer camp, and in August I had to do football practices 4 times a week. Another problem was with the scheduled date for my concert. The band ended up not being able to play for the original date. At the last minute, I was forced to come up with an alternative plan for my new date. I came up with the idea with karaoke night, which I like better because it means audience participation. I thought it would be a lot more fun. I feel that the karaoke night wasn't as good as I thought it would turn out to be. I was able to raise $10 for the purchase of new guitars. I was surprised that only a couple people ended up coming to the karaoke night. In order to make up for my lack of success, I decided to teach kids from younger grades how to play guitar. The guitar lessons were after school in the library. It was a bigger success to me because there were more than 3 times as many kids that showed up to the guitar lessons and the karaoke night. I enjoyed teaching lessons because it got new kids interested in guitar. I found out that teaching others can be a lot of fun. A neat positive is that I was the first capstone to use a karaoke night in guitar lessons. Even though my karaoke night didn't turn out as well as I planned, I was thinking of introducing the idea of having more karaoke nights to the school for their everyday fundraisers. Musical education is important to me. Playing music is a hobby of mine and many other people. I find it sad that schools everywhere are dropping musical education. This class alone was the reason why I got interested in music. Today, I try to play every day to get better. Without this class, most kids will never be introduced to musical arts and never want to play an instrument. Through my capstone process, I showed fortitude and temperance. I showed fortitude because even after not having a great shot at my karaoke night, I still tried again and had guitar lessons. I showed temperance when I waited in the auditorium for people to show up instead of having no one show up for the first 20 minutes. It paid off when some people came a little late and they had a great time. I learned that many people enjoy music, so it was easy to talk to them about my capstone project. I learned that large projects that stretch over many, many months are harder than I thought. I should have foreseen problems earlier. I think if I had better milestones at the beginning, I would have fewer problems and scheduling issues. In the end, I learned how to think fast and make changes so I could still have a successful capstone. I like to thank my mom for driving me everywhere, my dad for making me finish my project after my first failed attempt, Mrs. Schaefer for supervising the capstone and helped me with quieting down the class when I couldn't, Chris and Jenny for showing up for my karaoke night when no one else could, by Mrs. Kolich and Mr. Pernin for giving me tips and advising me to do the best I could for my capstone project. Thank you, and for the upcoming 8th graders, good luck.
Thank you, Riley. Great job. Next up, we have Kaylee Goulet.
Hello, I'm Kaylee Goulet, and as you may or may not know, I helped build the Franklin Dog Park for my capstone project. However, I didn't do it alone. The first step I took in completing this massive project was to talk to the town administrator. His name is Jeffrey Nutting, but you will hear me refer to him as Jeff throughout this presentation. He was a major supporter of the project and helped me all the way through. He was pleased when I came to him because the town has been interested in a dog park for a very long time, and I could help make it happen. As soon as I came to him, he immediately started investigating plots of land, and ultimately, we decided on Daisy Field on Lincoln Street. It took a couple of meetings with the Parks Department, the DPW, and Jeff to plan the park. The first day of hands-on work was done with the help of my family, some members of the DPW, including Wayne and Carlos, and a group of students with the Mormon Helping Hands. We all enthusiastically met in Daisy Field in July at 8 o'clock in the morning. I did my best to keep all the students working, and the job was done in a day. The biggest part of this project was to purchase and build the fence. In order to do this, I was prepared to do a lot of fundraising. Fencing is expensive, and the dog park required over 400 feet of fence. I needed to find businesses willing to donate, and I had to get the word out. In order to do this, I had to make about 300 flyers for the first round to get the word out. In order to do this, I had to hand out a Stop and Shop booth. Then after I spread the flyers out and some homemade donation boxes to local stores and businesses, I also talked to many of the store's managers while I did this in hopes of a larger contribution in exchange for a sign in their honor. Once I did that, I later had to make a second, more updated round of flyers that I handed out at the dog park opening day. In addition to that, I also got in a couple of newspapers in order to spread the word even farther. Furthermore, I made a website, a Facebook page, and a bank account to organize the dog park. If you're interested in checking it out, the website is franklindogpark.webs.com. Meanwhile, I also had to find a team to put up the fence and plan opening day. While I was trying to organize, Cam, a family friend, came to the rescue. He donated all the signs, helped in construction, and importantly, put us in contact with Paul Mola. Paul Mola is the leader of an organization known as Random Smile Project. All the 8th graders should recognize their name from our 4th grade fundraiser to support their group. Their mission is to basically provide support and help members of our community. Paul and his volunteers donated all the labor to put up the fence. This was no small task. Without their help, we would not have had the funds to hire a fence builder. They did a great job too. Just 2 weeks after the fence was finished was opening day. Opening day was also a success, and thank you to the mom for driving me the night before to get donuts, cider, and candy. All in all, this was a very unique experience for me, as it would be for most other people. Some things I learned while doing this was public speaking, dog behavior, and how to organize a big group of people, as well as time management. I learned public speaking by experience, which I now know is the best way to learn it. In this project, I have had to present to town council organizations and newspaper reporters. I also consistently went to Happy Tales almost every week to learn about dog behavior. I was only in a direct position to organize a group of people once. However, as I watched as Paul Mola directed all his volunteers and learned a lot, also on the sense of community and accomplishment the group had. As for time management, it was really difficult to juggle homework, dog park, and after-school activities. What I ended up doing was devoting as much of Saturday as possible to the dog park, all alone. So be prepared to devote some of your personal time to whatever you may choose. You may be wondering why I built the dog park in the first place, and that's a question many people have asked me. The answer to that is I love dogs and I'm proud of my community. This is truly the secret to any successful capstone. You really have to be passionate about what you're doing and want to learn more. That's what will make your capstone a success, no matter how big. Constructing the dog park was difficult. It took many weekends and a lot of time, but it was worth it because it brings the community together and helps dogs socialize. In conclusion, I would like to thank all of my sponsors and supporters that have helped me throughout this endeavor, including Jeff Nutting, who helped coach me all the way through. All in all, we raised about $7,000, and I'm pleased to say that the dog park is a thriving asset to the community, and on any given time, you might find about 12 families using it. So if you have a dog, you should go and check it out and meet some wonderful dogs and neighbors from your community.
That was excellent. And last for my group, we have Evan St. Germain.
All right. Good morning. My name is Evan St. Germain. For my capstone project, I raise funds and awareness for an organization called Valid Nutrition. Valid Nutrition is a non-profit organization founded in 2007 whose goal is to eliminate malnutrition in undeveloped nations. In order to attain their goal, they manufacture ready-to-use foods in undeveloped nations. Ready-to-use foods are highly fortified, oil-based, highly nutritional pastes specifically designed for the treatment of malnutrition. They are made from varying combinations of grains, pulses and seeds, milk powder, sugar, oil, vitamins, and minerals. They are pre-cooked and ready to eat straight from the pack. Ready-to-use foods are manufactured in the countries in which they are distributed and are made from ingredients that are grown locally. This supports the local economies by providing jobs and patronizing farmers. Ready-to-use foods are given to children under the age of 5 whose parents are unable to supply them with necessary nutrients needed to survive early childhood. Currently, Valid Nutrition is working in Africa to build factories and help save young children. Malnutrition is when the body lacks sufficient vitamins and minerals to function properly. This is what children all over the world suffer from. Here in the United States, malnutrition takes a very different form. Many children in America are well fed, but lack certain nutrients due to an unbalanced diet. I tried to combat this form of malnutrition by encouraging people to make and consume healthy, balanced snacks in my capstone activity, the Snack Off. The Snack Off was created to raise funds that would be donated to Valid Nutrition, as well as spread awareness and take action to decrease the existence of malnutrition in the BFCCPS community. My competition consisted of several students in the BFCCPS community who competed against each other over who could make the tastiest healthy snack. The prize for the winner was a healthy smoothie party for his or her class. I started advertising the Snack Off last June when I handed out pieces of a homemade healthy granola bar to the students of BFCCPS and told them about the upcoming Snack Off. While raising funds and spreading awareness about malnutrition, I chose to focus on healthy snacks because I am aware that many of us choose to eat too many unhealthy snacks. I chose this topic because I felt that Valid Nutrition's way of solving the problem is genius, as it also supports local economies while accommodating their main goal. I also felt that Valid Nutrition is underpublicized, and it'd be good to enlighten the BFCCPS community of this international organization. I educated others about Valid Nutrition, and malnutrition in a number of ways. In the pamphlets that I handed out to publicize my project, I included information about Valid Nutrition. I also wrote an article in Mrs. Schwab's healthy newsletter about Valid Nutrition and malnutrition. The biggest challenge I faced during my capstone project was timing. I held my Snack Off in October. This was a very bad time because there were a lot of other activities going on during October and early November in the BFCCPS community. I would advise people to avoid organizing their project during this time in order to get more participation. Another problem that existed within my capstone activity was that I overestimated the amount of people that might attend. I required that contestants be able to provide 250 bite-sized samples, which sounded like a lot, even though it equated to doubling a basic recipe. By wording the requirement the way I did, Parents of students were scared to commit to their interested child for this event. I understand that there were many K to 4th grade students that wanted to participate but did not due to what appeared to be hefty requirements. Besides spreading awareness in the BFCCPS community, I raised $409 for Valley Nutrition. I also provided a fun, positive experience for the people who participated. Some parents suggested that this should be a yearly event, and I explained that for this to become yearly, an 8th grader would have to volunteer to take it on each year. I'd be supportive and honored to assist any current 7th grader who would like to adopt the snack-off activity. I learned that it is a lot of hard work to organize a relatively small event. I learned a lot about malnutrition. I learned how to make a pamphlet using Microsoft Publisher. And most importantly, I witnessed parents as primary educators firsthand in the process of holding and organizing my snack. There were a lot of parents at the snack-off helping their children learn and explore. I'd like to take a few seconds to thank all the parents and students who participated. I'd also like to thank my advisor, Mrs. Coolidge, Mrs. Fallon, Mrs. Schwab, Mrs. Zolnowski, Mr. Perna, Nutrition, and my dad for helping me complete my capstone project.
Thank you, Evan, and thank you to all of my advisees who did an absolutely outstanding job today. We can all now breathe a sigh of relief that it's over. So can you all please stand up, turn around, and take a bow.
And I'd like to present my last advisee, Heather Hill.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Heather Hill, and for my capstone project, I decided to raise money and awareness for Summer Stars Camp for the Performing Arts. I had heard about this camp through family since my cousin Colleen Quinn is a part of the camp staff. I've been an advocate for the performing arts since I was in the 2nd grade when I started acting in YMCA productions. Performing at the YMCA has given me the feeling of knowing where I belong. Not only do I love sharing that feeling, but Summer Stars represented it as well. I had multiple opportunities to raise money and awareness for Summer Stars Camp for the Performing Arts. When it came to fundraising, many events took place. 2 were personal events where my classmates generously donated money. I also sold treats at McKenzie Young and Victoria Eamon's talent show. To educate my fellow students and BFCCPS community about Summer Stars, I showed an informative video at a school assembly, hopefully getting the attention of many. The final opportunity was holding a fundraiser at Uno Chicago Grill in Rentham, which was a success, raising $75. Overall, I collected the total amount of $271 to donate to Summer Stars, which is close to my goal of $350. Summer Stars Camp for the Performing Arts is a camp that educates disadvantaged children about the performing arts, such as dance and music, along with self-confidence and pride. Most of the kids who come to the camp are recommended by teachers or where funding for the performing arts has been cut. Majority of the kids are also from the city life and have not experienced a rural setting. The camp was 10 days, all overnight, where they stay in dorms of Northfield Mount Herman School in Guild, Massachusetts. Every day, the campers take classes about dance, singing, music, improvisation skills, filmmaking, and writing. Besides the arts, they also get the chance to get involved in more camp-like activities, such as biking, hiking, and basketball. At the end of the 10 days, the campers hold a large performance consisting of a variety of the things that they've learned. The camp runs on 100% of donations, scholarships, and sponsorships, all which pay for the campers' meals, transportation, and dorm living. When it came to my capstone project, I ran into many obstacles, one being scheduling issues. I had originally wanted 3 people from the camp to come and visit and speak to the students in assembly, but there just didn't seem like there was enough time for them or for the school. Eventually, the only solution was to educate people myself through an assembly. Thankfully, I got through this problem with much support. What I've learned from Capstone is that even though I may not have raised a large amount of money to change the camp forever, I know I've still made a difference. I learned that it doesn't matter how much money you've made or how many items you've collected, it's the thought that counts. I know that I've made an effort towards this project, and I've invested my heart, mind, and soul into this experience. To the 7th graders, a word of advice. Make the best of this project.
In fact, don't think of this as just a project, but an educational experience. Take advantage of every opportunity you get. Get everything done on time and don't take the extended time for granted. My mother always told me you were born into this world to make a change. This is only a baby step to get you ready for making bigger changes. When choosing a topic, ask yourself the following. Who does this affect? How do I help? Here at BFCCPS, everyone pushes us and motivates us to excel and do more, and that is something I greatly admire. There were so many people who made this possible for me. I would like to thank my classmates, teachers, parents, Mr. Perna, Mrs. Zolnowski, and everyone who has participated and helped me during my project. Thank you to Colleen Quinn and Donna Luther for helping me plan things. I am disappointed that you didn't get the chance to visit and talk about this extraordinary camp, but you've helped in a big way. Thank you to everyone at Uno, Chicago Grill, and Rentham for cooperating me with the fundraiser, and a big thanks to my amazing advisor, Madame Lily. I could not have done any of this without you. You've been there every step of the way, supported me, and pushed me to do bigger and better things. Good luck to the 7th graders, and congratulations to 8th graders for completing your projects. Thank you, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
It is actually an honor to be part of every one of your capstones. To us, it's a wonderful experience. We learn from you, so thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Belke, and I am the proud advisor of the, let me see if I can get this right, the Nomadic Nine that are fantastic in their second part is the name of my group. You all should be rewarded with a sense of accomplishment. You've done a tremendous job, and I am truly glad to be your advisor. The first person that we're going to hear from this morning is Mr. Benjamin Aho.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Aho. This capstone project has been a very educational experience for my peers and I. For my capstone project, I decided to support American service members overseas. Originally, I wanted to help them by raising money for bulletproof vests, donating cell phones, or one of the many other popular ways to help our soldiers in other countries. Eventually, with all these options at my disposal, I decided to donate care packages. A care package is simply a box filled with entertaining, fun, essential, and sometimes delicious things. One can assemble these packages quickly and easily by purchasing items at their local shop. Unlike donating one item, one can donate many items of one's choosing. The soldiers receiving the package would get a variety of items and can share them with his or her fellow soldiers. By then, I had my idea for my capstone. It was the execution of the project that had me, how to approach the project. Eventually, I came up with a very solid base. I wanted to sell items in order to purchase items for 2 care packages. I decided on 2 medium care packages rather than 1 large one because these would reach 2 units rather than 1, and therefore more soldiers. For reasons of timing, I decided to create the care packages before I raised the money. The packages would be lent on my own money. To start, I created a list of items to put into the care packages. I estimated my budget to be $320 for both care packages together. After shopping at various stores such as Walmart and Barnes & Noble's, the sum of the materials turned out to be $240, which was $80 less than my original estimation. By then, I knew how much money I had to raise. My plan was to sell candy to create a profit for the project. So I did a vast amount of research and found a candy company named Hilliard's, who sells special chocolate bars for raising money. These special bars cost $1 a piece and came in packages of 40. I ordered 2 boxes, which was a total of $80. My parents' donation to my cause was the $80 that bought the chocolate bars. I would sell these chocolate bars around my neighborhood for $2 a piece. Though a few of the bars I sold went to go to my family and friends, the majority were sold to neighbors. I went door to door in my neighborhood selling the bars and passed around a flyer to the residents stating my project and how they can participate in what I'm doing. This action killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Not just did I raise most of my money, but I also spread awareness to the community. After selling all the bars to people around town, to my friends and family, and getting a generous donation of $40, I raised $200 towards my materials. And the rest of the money I had to earn to satisfy my debt, I earned through personal work such as yard work and home chores, which was only, not so much more because it was already like $240. After the packages were made and the debts were satisfied, I had yet one thing to do before my capstone could be complete. I had to mail my packages. I acquired the addresses to the soldiers' bases using anysoldier.com. Anysoldier.com is an online service that gives you addresses to send packages to soldiers at their bases. I obtained the addresses of 2 American troops whose information could not be disclosed. But by giving these volunteers these care packages, they can share them with their fellow troops. So their time in such a hostile, dangerous place, in honor of their and our own nation, can be a bit more bearable. From this experience, I have learned many things about the world community. I have learned much about our soldiers overseas, as well as what goes into their well-being. And I would like to thank my advisor, my peers, my teachers, and my family. Thank you.
Well done, Ben. Next on our program is Christian McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Good morning, BFCCPS community. My name is Christian McKenzie. About a year ago, we got our assignment for Capstone, and I had many ideas. But my original idea for Capstone was to collect just soccer balls and send them to Haiti. But then I thought to myself, why not do more? So instead of just collecting soccer balls, I collected jerseys, shin guards, shorts, and I also collected soccer cleats. The reason I am doing my capstone is because on January 12, 2010, a devastating earthquake hit the small island of Haiti. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and the rebuilding was not going to be easy for them. With the help of the United States, they're on their way. The capital of Port-au-Prince is constructed mainly of cement blocks, and that was easily destroyed during the earthquake. When the earthquake hit, 200,000 people died and nearly 300,000 more were injured. Many children have been killed, injured, or orphaned and or gotten really sick. They do, however, still survive. My project goal is to help the children of Haiti allow themselves to live an exciting life as children. This is another reason I wanted to do this project was because I love soccer, and another country of Haiti's national sport is also soccer. The first person I contacted was Senator Brown, Scott Brown, office. When I asked them was a ride for the soccer equipment to go down to Haiti. And on my behalf, they contacted the Navy to say if I could get a flight or sea lift for the equipment to go down to Haiti. As it turns out, the Navy could not assist me in bringing the soccer balls down because their mission had largely ended. Senator Brown's office then contacted Partners in Health, a nonprofit organization started by Brigham and Women's Hospital that works for medical and social well-being all over the globe. Partners in Health so kindly agreed to take the balls down to Haiti. Throughout my capstone, I contacted my old club, NEFC, and I also contacted my current soccer team, the Greater Boston Bulls. They both were a big help, sending me all the equipment I need, including balls, jerseys, shirts, cleats, socks, and shin guards. All the items I need. FISA's Administrator Extraordinary, Mrs. Frangillo, has offered to give extra gear they have too. I also contacted the Tager family in Halston, runs Fort Kicks in Norfolk and in Marlborough, and they agreed to, at the end of the month, let me get the soccer balls and the lost and found. John Smith Sports Center in Milford also agreed to let me take items from the lost and found at the end of every month. I also set up a drive here at school, which was also very helpful. Some virtues I had to show throughout this capstone are courage and temperance. Some of the obstacles I faced were, over the summer I was way too relaxed. And another obstacle I faced was keeping up with my accomplishment sheet because I didn't really follow anything. Throughout my project, many people supported me and helped me. Those people are Mr. Belkey, my advisor, who was steering me in the right direction when I was being too relaxed. Mr. Perna also steering me in the right direction for the same reason. My parents for driving me places because I cannot drive. All the people helped donate soccer equipment. And I also like to thank Mrs. Mocha because one day I left my collection box at school. The next day when I went to school, it was a really windy day. Believe it or not, all the things were all over the place. The balls and the box. Mrs. Mocha so kindly got all the equipment, put it in her car, and saved it. So I want to thank her. Good luck to all the 7th graders on their capstone project, and thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Next up, you're going to hear from Kayla and Hughes.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, students, and teachers. My name is Kaylee Hughes, and for my capstone project, I worked with the Shriners Hospital in Boston and handed out knapsacks of hope to the patients there. A knapsack of hope is a little bag that contains little items to make you smile and happy on your worst of days. Inside the knapsack of hope, there is an eraser to make all your mistakes disappear, a paper clip to hold yourself together, a marble for the day you've lost yours, a penny so you're never completely broke, a rubber band to stretch beyond your limits, and smiley face stickers to make you smile on your worst days. I passed out these knapsacks of hope to the patients at the Shriners Hospital to make them smile during their treatments and their time at the hospital. I chose this project because I love to work with children, and I've been told I'm very good with them. I also chose this project because a lot of people choose to work with other hospitals in Boston, such as the Children's Hospital. And I haven't heard of anybody from the school working from the Shriners, so I'd like to do something different. I also chose this because my aunt also works there, so it would be easy for me to get in contact with the hospital. I faced a few obstacles when I was working with this project. One obstacle I chose was actually getting in contact with the hospital. I thought it would be easier since my aunt worked there, but I found out that she was in a different department than what I had to work with. So I had to contact Stephanie Clark, but the day she got my email, I was on vacation, and then the week after she was. So it was back and forth and a big mess, but finally we got in touch. After that, we had to get in touch on the phone, but my schedule didn't really work out, and I didn't get there in time. But then we finally worked it out, and it was all fine. Then I encountered another obstacle in which I had to completely change what I was doing for my capstone project. I originally was going to hold performances at the Shriners Hospital for the children at the hospital. But because I was underage and the performers I was going to work with were underage, that we weren't able to do the performances. So Stephanie Clark suggested that I come to the holiday party that they were holding in December. I decided to do that because I love to work with the children and I thought it would be a unique opportunity to meet them. At the holiday party, I worked with the karaoke station and I helped singing with all the children. I also talked to a few of them and played with them and helped them with their arts and crafts. Some positives in this capstone project is that I saw the happiness on the children's faces despite their conditions and what they were going through. It was so great to see the looks on their faces after I had given them the knapsacks of hope. It was really great. I liked it a lot. I felt good about helping somebody who was less fortunate than I learned a lot throughout my capstone project. I learned how to set up a date with somebody and get really organized.
I know it sounds silly, but I also learned how to page somebody on a pager. I never knew how to do that before. I also learned that through the children in the hospital, despite their conditions, they were still some of the most polite people I've ever met in my entire life. They were all really kind, and I made a lot of new friends. I would like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank my mom for buying all the supplies for the knapsacks and coats. I'd like to thank my dad for driving me to the Shriners Hospital and being there during the holiday party. I'd like to thank my sisters, Lauren and Talon, for helping me assemble the knapsacks and coats. I'd like to thank Mr. Velke for helping me through this capstone project. I'd like to thank my Aunt Jen for helping me through the capstone project. I'd also like to thank Kaylee Gavrilis for giving me the idea of the knapsacks and coats. I'd like to thank Stephanie Clark for helping me with the capstone project. And I'd also like to thank all the patients at the Shriners Hospital for a great time, and you guys actually made me happy, and I'd like to visit you guys again soon. Thank you.
Well done, well done. Up next, you are going to hear from Mr. Joseph Casey.
Welcome, students and parents. A little over a year ago, an 18-year-old friend of mine was killed by a drunk driver. As a result, I chose to do my project on drunk driving and its dangers. At first, I was a little unsure about what I should do specifically, like just raise and donate money or raise awareness, etc. Once I learned that the driver who killed my friend was 5 times over the legal limit for blood alcohol content, I decided to do my best to propose a law into the legislature of Massachusetts. I was seeking the political support of Scott Brown, a U.S. Senator, or Dan Winslow, who is a Massachusetts state representative, to help me further with this portion of the project. To get data for my proposed law, I had to do some research. I did this by interviewing 3 liquor store owners. They were very helpful, gracious, and supportive of my project. The interviews themselves helped raise awareness to the public because customers observed our question and answer sessions. To raise awareness, I had to also submit articles to the Boston Globe and to the Franklin Country Gazette. This article was intended to educate the public on drunk driving and its dangers. Before I wrote the article, though, I had to collect data. I interviewed the liquor store owners of Franklin Village Mall Liquors, King Street Wines and Liquors, and Franklin Liquors. I asked them questions regarding drunk driving and its laws and dangers. I looked at all of the data I collected and then wrote an article for the Boston Globe and the Franklin Country Gazette, hoping to get it published. Both the Boston Globe and the Franklin Country Gazette are publishing it very soon. This article will hopefully help inform many people about the dangers of drunk driving. There were some challenges in doing this project. One was time management. Over the summer, I focused on interviewing liquor store owners. It took repeated efforts to gain their support. I had to complete this stage first in order to collect data on the problem. I drafted my article to the Boston Globe and the Franklin Country Gazette in late November/early December. A third obstacle I faced was communication. Reaching politicians and convincing them to submit legislation has proven difficult. I think there are 3 reasons for this. First, getting any legislation filed is a challenge simply because many issues are always seeking a vote. Second, drunk driving is a high-profile topic. Third, I think it may have been difficult because it is an issue that might not have been seen as appropriate for someone my age. It took a while to hear back from Scott Brown. In his letter he eventually wrote me, he told me that since he works now at a federal level and not a state level, he cannot help me. This is because the law I'm trying to pass is at a state level, not a federal one, so he does not work there anymore. I decided to contact Dan Winslow. Dan Winslow did contact me back. He has appeared willing to help me get a law introduced. However, he is very busy with many people to represent and legislation to vote on. There are many positive results to this project. One positive result is that people are now more aware about the dangers of drunk driving. Another positive result is that a stricter law may be passed. Hopefully it does. I learned a lot about drunk driving, and hopefully many other people did too. Drunk driving is a very serious issue in today's society. I cannot stress that enough. People are getting injured every minute, literally, from drunk driving. From the time I started the speech to the end of it, 5 people have been injured from people being careless and driving drunk. This project came too late to save the life of my friend, but if it saves the life of just one person, it will have made a very big difference for that person and those around him or her who love them. If a stricter bill is passed, many thousands of people will benefit. This is my hope.
Thank you, Joe. That was amazing. There's a slight change in schedule here. Up next, we are going to hear from Britney Ford.
Hello and good morning, students, parents, and faculty of BFCCPS. My name is Britney Ford, and for my capstone project, I decided to raise money for the Sparkle Foundation. The Sparkle Foundation is an organization run by students at schools nationwide. They help to create and sponsor cheerleading and dance teams for students with disabilities. They also provide uniforms and financial aid to these teams. The main goal of the Sparkle Foundation is to let the students have fun and boost their self-confidence. When I first was thinking of what I want to do for my capstone, I immediately knew that I wanted to help children with disabilities in some way. I am a cheerleader myself, and at competition, there are always teams for children with disabilities. Watching these teams always warms my heart, and I want to find a way to help them. Thinking of this, after researching online for a while, I found the Sparkle Foundation. After finding this organization, I knew that I wanted to help them in any way I could. After a while of thinking, I came up with a way to raise money for the organization. I decided that I wanted to make and sell bows at my cheerleading gym. So I wrote a letter and asked the owner if it would be okay to sell bows. Next, he told me that I could absolutely sell the bows. So I waited until I got my project approved by Mr. Perna and Ms. Solnowski. Finally, the day came when I had to meet and discuss if I could start my capstone or if I had to rework some parts. I went in very nervously and talked to Mr. Perna. Though, when I went in, it wasn't bad at all. We just had a conversation discussing the details of what I wanted to do. I finally got the green light and was ready to go. I was very excited when I got my project approved. So next I started to put together a letter asking for donations from different stores. Then when I thought I was ready to send the letters and make the bows, I came across my first obstacle. At this time, I was in the process of switching to a new cheerleading gym, so I would no longer be able to sell the bows there anymore. I needed to think of a new way to raise money, and fast. I thought of many ideas, but none of them would work. I was going to sell bows at my new gym, but with competition season approaching and other reasons, that didn't work out. Finally, after a long time of thinking, I thought of a perfect way to raise money. I would sell hair bows at the school. I put a flyer in the pink sheet with an order form. I also asked for a few different stores to donate, but none of them were able to donate. The manager at CVS was very nice, but he said that they were unable to donate. He told me that I would have to send a letter through their corporate office and they would get back to me in a few months, which would have been too late. Many stores had similar things. On the bright side, my grandmother had some ribbon that she was willing to give me for the project. Over the course of completing my capstone project, I did encounter some obstacles, but in the end, I overcame these obstacles and had an amazing project. This capstone project has taught me so much. First, I learned that you need to be extremely patient with anything. It took time for people to email me or call me back about donations or to send in orders. Eventually, everything worked out and my project was completed on time. Next, I learned that you need to be very flexible. I had to learn this the hard way when I almost had to completely redo my project, which wasn't easy at all. The last thing I learned is that that time is very valuable. You may think you have ample amount of time to complete a step, but in all actuality, the due date is closer than it appears. I learned that in order to complete a big project, or even a small one, you need to have great time management skills. To all the 7th graders beginning their capstone in the new soon, I have a few words of advice. First, you need to pay close attention to due dates. They may seem far away, but they are much closer than they seem. You should always have some sort of backup plan in mind in case if something goes wrong, too. It's better to have too many ideas than not to have enough at all. I want to thank the people that have helped me along the way. I'd first like to thank my mom and dad for helping me with whatever I need. Thank you for helping me with whatever I need, whether it was a ride somewhere or help brainstorming an idea. I also would like to thank Mr. Belke for being a fantastic advisor and making my capstone experience a lot easier. Thank you for answering any questions I may have possibly had and for always being there to support me. Next, I would like to thank my grandmother for all of her support. Thank you for donating ribbon to me and for helping me all throughout my capstone experience. Finally, I would like to thank all of my friends and family who have helped me along the way in order to support the Sparkle Foundation and my capstone project. Thank you for listening, and good luck to the 7th graders who will soon begin their capstone project.
Great job, Britney. Mr. Uter, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Up next is McKenna Holosi.
Good morning. My name is McKenna Holosi. Ever since I started 7th grade, I've been excited to start my capstone project, but at first I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. For my capstone project, I decided to make a website or blog for the students of BFCCPS. I named the student blog The Charter Book. The goal of the Charter Book is to keep the BFCCPS students connected with not only each other, but with their own school as well. Along with making this blog, I also decided to raise awareness of cyberbullying, a growing problem in the world today. To do so, I created a video about the effects of cyberbullying and how many kids across the country have been cyberbullied before. I chose this as my capstone project because I wanted to do a project that no one has attempted before. Nowadays, more and more people are putting things online and sharing them with their friends, so I thought, why not make a website that offers that and incorporate it with the school? The Charter Book is a blog that was specifically designed for the BFCCPS students. It was created to keep the students updated and connected. The Charter Book is also a great place for students to share with each other. I will be posting regularly on this blog so no one will be left out on anything. I launched the Charter Book during the 5th grade's Element Fashion Show Assembly on January 6, 2012. Not only did I present my website, but I also showed a quick 2-minute video on the effects of cyberbullying. The video showed one person getting bullied by another over Facebook chat. The ending of this video showed the percentage of kids who have been cyberbullied, over 42% living in the U.S. I faced many obstacles while doing this capstone project. One such obstacle was finding the right person to collaborate with this on. At first I thought that I would be working with Mr. Benjamin since he ran the school website. I met with Mr. Benjamin and he directed me to Mr. Callahan. After meeting with Mr. Callahan, I was sure of what I was going to do for my project. Another problem that I faced was the summer. I couldn't really work on a school blog while I wasn't in school, so that set my project back a little bit. One final problem that I faced while doing my capstone project was the video. I made the video with my friend Kayla and everything was perfect. We had finished making the video and I had finished all of the editing, and finally everything was done. But the next day when I went to see the video to make sure it worked properly, I realized that it did not save. One positive result of my project is that the Charter Book gives the students a safe online environment to socialize and share. Another positive outcome is that the school is educated on the harmful effects of cyberbullying and how it can affect your peers. As a school of character, the Charter Book will be a 100% cyberbullying-free zone where students can share and comment on posts about upcoming events. Not only will the students be able to connect with each other, but this will give them an easy way to see what events are being planned in the school with other capstone projects and also extracurricular activities such as student council, band, chorus, and play. The Charter Book has been very popular. In its first half an hour, it had received 250 page views. I've showed fortitude during this project because I never gave up and I worked extremely hard. I've learned a lot during the capstone process, and I learned that if you want to do something, then you should do it well and to the best of your abilities. I learned that with help, time, effort, and a whole bunch of hard work, that the end product can turn out really great. Another huge part of my capstone project has been Facebook. Facebook has contributed many positive aspects of my capstone project. Facebook played a role in the cyberbullying video, and it's also been a great way to get some feedback on my ideas. There are many people that I would like to thank for assisting me with my project. One person that I would like to thank is Mr. Callahan. Mr. Callahan not only helped me create the website, but he also gave me some really good ideas for the site as well. Without him, I would have had a completely different project. Another person I want to thank is my mom for giving me some good ideas at the beginning and supporting my idea until the very end. Thank you, Mrs. BN, for allowing me to present the cyberbullying awareness video and the site's PowerPoint during your assembly. I'd like to thank Kayla and for helping me with the video, Mr. Perna for assisting me with different aspects of my project, and Mr. Belkey for being a great advisor. Finally, I would like to thank my advising group, the Nomadic 9, who are quite fantastic and in their second part, for giving me excellent suggestions on my project. Capstone has been a great learning experience for me, and I have worked hard to get to this point. For incoming 7th graders who are starting their capstones now, I suggest that you try your hardest on this project and to choose a topic that you're passionate about. This really helps down the road. Work hard and don't be afraid to try new things. Thank you.
Outstanding job. Up next, you're going to hear from the duo of Kaylee Gravelis and Ainsley McStay, who is also in Mrs. Cole's advising group. Ladies.
Welcome students, family, and faculty of BFCCPS. My name is Kaylee Gavrillus.
And my name is Izzy.
This year for our capstone project, we worked with an organization called Operation Beautiful. One day when I was on the computer, I came across a video titled Operation Beautiful. The video showed 3 girls going around to different public places and handing people uplifting and encouraging messages on sticky notes. Intrigued to learn more, I went to the website of Operation Beautiful and found out that it was an organization that is trying to end self-negative talk by encouraging self-confidence and positivity in teens and adults. Negative self-talk is when you talk down upon yourself by saying things such as, I'm ugly, or I need to lose a few pounds. I knew right away that this was the project I was going to pursue for my capstone because I thought that not only myself, but many people in our community need to be educated about how toxic and hurtful negative self-talk can really be. Shortly after I discovered the organization, I contacted one of my friends, Ainsley, and asked her if she would like to be my partner for this project. When she learned about what Operation Beautiful was, she was ecstatic and immediately said yes. This was the start to our capstone.
It wasn't easy figuring out how to educate the community about Operation Beautiful, but in the end we decided to create a group at BFCCPS that taught about negative self-talk, confidence, and bullying. At the start of our 8th grade year, we passed out flyers and talked to the 7th and 8th grade about the new group we were planning on creating. At our first meeting, we had a great turnout of 16 people. From there, we held 7 more meetings throughout the next 3 months. There, we talked about things from insecurities to health and fitness, and ended each meeting with a fun activity. But we were still not satisfied with just educating 16 people about the cause. So we decided to post sticky notes with positive messages on them in public places such as bathroom mirrors and dressing rooms at the mall. Also, during the meeting, one of the group members came up with the idea of creating a bulletin board in the 7th and 8th grade hallway. We posted notes around the school, and every time someone found a note, they could come and place it on the board. This way, more people could have the opportunity to read the board and educate themselves about the cause.
Even though we enjoyed carrying out our capstone, we did encounter some minor obstacles during the process. One of our very first obstacles was that we weren't sure how to organize a group at the school. We overcame this obstacle by talking to Ms. Sobin, who advised us to make flyers and agreed to help us with any issues we may have with the group. The next obstacle we faced was that we really hoped and planned on getting the creator of Operation Beautiful, Caitlin Boyle, to come to our school for an assembly. After contacting her, we realized that the amount of money we would have to raise was impossible. In the end, we realized we could educate our school just the same by posting notes and creating a bulletin board. Our next obstacle was faced at the beginning of our 8th grade year when we wanted to pass out flyers about Operation Beautiful. We didn't realize until the day before we were about to pass out the flyers that we had to get it approved by both our advisors and Mr. Perna. Even though we had to move the first meeting back a week because of this, we got the flyer approved and out in a considerably fast amount of time. These obstacles were minor, but still had a slight effect on the outcome of our capstone project.
Even though we encountered some obstacles while completing our project, there are many positive results of our service. We enlightened not only members of the 7th and 8th grade,
fourth graders had come to her and told her about the notes they found in the bathroom and how excited they were to find them. We have also heard many people in the hall and in class talking about Operation Beautiful. Though I believe the greatest feeling of all has been when one of my friends shared with me that her outlook on life has changed in a positive way because of Operation Beautiful. You never know how a small message can change someone's life so dramatically.
While we were busy making a positive effect on others, we also helped ourselves by learning many important life skills. We learned organizational skills because we always had to stay organized and orderly when preparing for the next meeting, which can often be hard with partners. We also learned how to cope with working with another person, which can be a difficult task at times. Learning how to have a more positive outlook on life, people, and the community was probably the most rewarding of all lessons learned from the Capstone process. Overall, we have come out of the Capstone process better people with a new way of seeing our lives.
Lastly, we'd like to give a big thank you to our friends and family for supporting our capstone, the people who attended the meetings that we held at the school, our advisors, Mr. Velke and Mrs. Coolidge, most importantly, Ms. Sobin, for all of her aid throughout the past year. Thank you for listening and having us.
That was excellent, ladies. The last presenter you're going to hear from this morning is Mr. Luke Hay.
Good morning, parents, teachers, students, and family members. Thank you for being here today to recognize our Capstone projects. In January of 2011, a massive earthquake and tsunami devastated parts of Japan. Entire villages were annihilated, businesses, homes, schools were turned into rubble within seconds. Transportation, hospitals, water, food, market, and most forms of communication were stopped. 15,839 people died, and 5,095 people critically injured. While this disaster was occurring, it was also snowing the day of and the day after to increase the severity of this issue. Tens of thousands of people were left homeless. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of schools wrecked during this incident. I chose Red Cross Japan as the company to work with. I did so because I knew they'd be a reliable association to give to because of its reputation. I found out the Red Cross was an extremely reliable resource and that I could utilize them. They knew what they were doing and lived up to their reputation for them. The Red Cross said they needed two things. The first was money for the repairing process, and the second was school supplies so the children could remain literate and educated with staying in Japan. Those have been the two things I have focused on in my capstone. My goal was originally $1,000, but as time crept up on me, I had to lower it to $500. When I was younger, I used to attend a Stony Brook fair called in Norfolk, Massachusetts. Around the time of the year when I was working on my capstone, I remember that anyone could come and rent a booth there. I called them up and learned that the booth costed $40. One of my friends and myself decided we could split the price and it would be beneficial to both of us. We sold cookies there and also wrapped off a massage from my mom, who's a professional massage therapist. Many roadblocks came in my path as I was working on my capstone project. One included me working on a fundraiser event. I had planned and arranged a town-wide car wash to be held at BFCCPS. I was expecting a somewhat large turnout. However, that weekend was the weekend of the blizzard. 500,000 people were out without power, so that didn't really work out in my favor. The next roadblock was the fault of my own. I started the capstone expecting us to do a totally different topic with a totally different organization. Then I heard about the earthquake and tsunamis that hit Japan, instantly knew I had to change it. I also learned many positive lessons from capstone. For example, my time management skills have improved greatly. I used to complete tasks last minute, but now I do them not the day before they're due. Another is how I learned to talk to people with big companies and organizations and got over that fear. My final lesson I learned is how to persevere through stressful situations better than I used to. My first suggestion for the upcoming 8th graders is to take a lot of pictures. It helps to reminisce when you look at them and also helps to put a good PowerPoint together. The second suggestion is to have your parents sign every step, because a lot of people lost out on point deductions just because the parents don't sign them. And I'd also like to thank a lot of people. First off being my mom, because without her, I wouldn't have been able to raffle off the massage that Stony Brook. I wouldn't have been able to get rides when I needed them, and most likely wouldn't have been able to complete my capstone project. Mr. Parton and Mrs. Lanowski for helping us wherever help was needed. Mr. Velke, my advisor, for being there every step of the way. Joe Casey for splitting the booth with me. McKenzie and Victoria Eamon for letting me sell food at the talent show.
and finally, anyone who donated to my fund promoting Japan. Thank you all and have a great day.
You can all take a collective sigh of relief. You've done it. Would my advising group please stand up and be recognized?
Family, friends, students, as we bring what has been 2 amazing days of capstone presentations to a close, I'd like to take a moment and just call everyone's attention to the phrase, the quote that's on the front of the program, that's on the front yesterday and again today. Not for self, but for others. It's that phrase that I think in many ways best sums up what Capstone is all about. You've heard a huge variety of projects from helping our school community, from helping our town community, from helping the world community. And what I would like not only our graduating 8th graders to take with them, but all of us really, is that young men and women have the power to impact everyone by simply doing something for others. You should be very proud of yourselves. We are proud of you, not only what you've accomplished, but the people that you are. This time I'd like all of our 8th graders to stand up. And let's give them one big round of applause. That brings our capstone presentations to their conclusion. Parents, family, community members, thank you so much for joining us today. 6th and 7th graders, thank you for being such outstanding audience members. 8th graders, again, you've done a wonderful job. I'm going to invite the advising groups that presented today to please stay behind. We'd like to take some pictures. And I'd ask the other 8th graders who presented yesterday to be the first to stand, and all students will exit up that back.